What's going on, fellow A-Plussers? It's your boy, Adam Perez. We are back once again with a brand new live episode of A-Plus Hero Report, your weekly stop for your Marvel, DC, television, and movie news, streaming live for you guys here today. We got 6 incredible topics, some honorable mentions, your live viewer questions at the end of the show. So sit back, relax, grab your cup of coffee, and I'll see you guys on the other side. Welcome to A-Plus Hero Report, friends and family. It is fantastic to see everybody here once again for a new episode of A-Plus Hero Report, kicking off at noon Central Time today, per the request of Stuart, and no more football this season. But come the football season later on this year, we'll definitely go ahead and revert back to 11 a.m. But it is good to see everybody. Good to see you, Stuart. How you doing, brother?
Dude, that is a complicated question because as of now, I feel good. I'm totally fine. But like anytime I think about the news, anytime I think about what's going on, I get driven completely insane. That's where I'm at right now mentally. Like, I'm fine, but yeah.
No, I feel you. Part of me really wants to check out when it comes to the news this weekend and try and avoid my phone and Facebook and all that other stuff. But yeah, it's kind of crazy out there. But I'm glad to see you. According to Ron, you can't see Ron here on my cup. There he is.
Oh, there he is. Yes.
He says, "I regret nothing." The end. Ron Swanson. Man of my heart. Fantastic. Anyway, it's good to see you, buddy. How was the extra hour of sleep? Did you sleep an extra hour? Were you up normally as you usually are, or what?
Oh, no, I slept that extra hour, which is great because I closed the previous night at work. No, I feel good. I feel very fully rested. I know last time I was here, not last week, but the week before, I feel like I was just very going through the motions, but now I feel like I'm actually like in this show. I'm actually awake. I'm actually ready to have, real discussions this time.
Nice. I love it, man. It's funny. I was trying to take a sip of my coffee, and because my coffee mug is green, it's almost invisible to the naked eye. Almost, you can't. I love it.
That's always the fun part about working with the green screen backgrounds.
Yeah, no, I need to get me a legit green screen. It's been on my Amazon wish list for like 3 years, and nobody's purchased it for me yet for Christmas. But I need to get a legit green screen. I think it would look just significantly better than whatever StreamYard is offering us here. But it's all right. Have you seen any good movies lately this week, Stuart?
Oh, I actually, this is like the weekend I kind of skipped on going to the movies, but I have started playing a new game, the Resident Evil Requiem video game, which
that's right.
I started a couple days ago. Amazing. Mostly, there is one thing that, and I know it's because it's a survival horror and it wants you to feel that annoying anxiety all the time, but the thing that annoys me so much about this game is like, so you got the respawning enemies and you have very limited ammo, which those two elements I'm totally fine with. That is very Resident Evil. The problem is there's a lot of key items that you constantly need and they're scattered all over the place and they're so hard to spot. Like the interface for trying to pick up items or trying to look around for those items is just, it's not as good as I would like. So I end up finding myself missing important key items, happen to go back and then suddenly noticing that an entire room of zombies that I already cleared is now back and filled with zombies. And it's like, no, I already wasted my bullets on you guys. No, don't do this to me.
That's rough, man. That's rough.
Other than that, great game.
Do you use like a playthrough guide or anything like that? Are those still a thing? I remember the playthrough guides were like huge. I don't know if they're still a thing though or not.
I don't know actually if they have like the traditional kind. I only once had to look something up and it was because of that exact reason. There was a specific file that I was like missing and I was like trying to search everywhere I thought I hadn't been and I just couldn't find it. So eventually I'm just like, okay, screw it. I'm Googling this. So I had to look up how to open because there's one of the weirdest puzzles in the game. Okay, so you have this body that's like strapped down and its organs are all missing. and you need to get its pass card from its wrist, which is strapped to something that looks like you could easily unstrap and take it from its wrist. But no, the game wants to make it a puzzle where you have to get two different sets of organs, lungs and a heart, and you have to put it into the empty corpse in order for it to like reanimate itself, and then you kill it, and then you take its wrist bracelet that you need as a key item. It's like, or you could have just slipped it off. Like, wow, the amount of steps you went for like such a simple thing. But yeah, it's a great game.
That's funny. Well, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, I did see people posting about it, that it was out. So that's cool. I'm glad you're getting a chance to play it. I heard this article that popped up on my phone the other day that Xbox is thinking about, I guess, not doing consoles anymore. That they've been having a really big drop in sales when it comes to their hardware, and so they're becoming a little bit more AI driven, and that they're contemplating the idea of maybe not doing consoles any longer for their Xbox, which is kind of crazy if that is true. Again, it was just a report that I saw pop up on my phone earlier. In regards,
honestly, I wouldn't doubt it, and I wouldn't really be mad if that were the case. Now I should point out I don't keep up with the gaming industry as much as I used to, but from what I've kind of just been seeing, just like every time I do game every now and then, there hasn't been a single title that I've been interested in that wasn't available on the PlayStation 5. Whereas like I feel like back when I was in high school and it was the PlayStation 2 and the Xbox, or the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360, there were great, reasons to own either console because both of them had a great line of exclusive video games. But now it's like almost anything on Xbox that isn't on PlayStation 5, you could probably play on your PC anyway. So it's just, I don't really see the point now of owning an Xbox console personally.
yeah, I think that's one of the things that they were talking about. I haven't had a console in like the longest time, man. I'm so out of the loop when it comes to gaming. So I gotta catch up on some things. Let's see here. We got Crystal in the house. What's up, Crystal? Happy Sunday to you too. Hopefully, we're out. I guess it's what, 10 o'clock over there in the morning. Man, you guys are early birds. I would definitely be sleeping still if I had my way. I was just barely getting up to get ready for my show. We're going to be talking about your boy Darth Maul on today's show within maybe like 2 or 3 topics or so. But we're definitely going to be talking about that. For those of you who don't know, Crystal Kyber does run her own YouTube channel. She does makeup and she talks Star Wars, and sometimes both at the same time. Okay, so if you're interested in that, check out her page. She also likes to jump over here at A Plus Hero Report to talk Star Wars, because we're going to be doing the Maul Shadow Lord reviews for you guys here on the channel. So if you're not subscribed to us yet, please go ahead and do so. We got Peg C in the house. What's going on, Peg C? Good to see you as always. And of course, Ricky Perez certainly joining us here today. We'll get into some of your guys' live chat comments in just a minute. I did have the opportunity to check out the Glenn Powell movie this week, How to Make a Killing. I dropped my report card and review for it over on our TikTok page, as you can see over here at Hero Report. Graded it a C+. Definitely needs improvement, but it was a decent, fun film. I had my enjoyable moments of it. And then I think Scream 7 also dropped this week also. I have not seen the reviews for it, but people that have been fans of Scream are excited to go out and check it out. But last I did see from the critics score, at least for Rotten Tomatoes, not so good. Not so good. But,
so there's definitely a lot of controversy with this movie for a couple of reasons. I think one of them, of course, being the fact that you had the main 2 actresses from the previous 2 installments gone, because one of them decided to speak out and say, hey, genocide is wrong, and that was considered anti-Semitic, and so she got fired. And what's even more insulting is that they offered her the role back. All she had to do was apologize, and she, of course, was like, no, I'm not going to apologize for saying genocide is wrong. So and then Jenna Ortega was like, yeah, no, if she's gone, I'm gone too. So the story that they had kind of like set up from the previous 2 films just they couldn't even finish it, which I still think, like, my theory is that it was going to be their mom in the next movie, because they kind of they imply that she was not a good person. So I feel like if she wasn't the killer, she probably would have been like a red herring. But yeah, so then they kind of do this Scream 7, which is controversy for a couple of reasons involving AI. Oh, and for promoting gambling too, because now there is a feature on an app where you can gamble about who you think the killer is actually going to be. So promoting gambling.
So who gets that money then?
Uh,
Do they make a kickback? Does the studio make a kickback for that?
Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure the studio does.
Oh,
like,
okay.
Yeah, from like the fine print or something.
Yeah.
And then there's like an AI thing where it's like you can feature yourself in the film. I'm not sure how that works exactly. If it's like you can rewatch a scene but like see yourself in it or something. But and then there's like the last thing, which is of course Matthew Lillard. I haven't seen the movie, so I don't know if it's like they actually used AI to bring his face into the movie, or if they had the actor in the movie and then they just said it was AI. Like,
well, yeah, they said it was he was cast in it,
so I hope so. Yeah, then I would hope, like, if they already have him, they wouldn't use AI to recreate his face. That would
that would be
weird.
Yeah, that would be crazy to make a casting announcement that somebody's going to be back and they're not really in it. It's just an AI. That'd be crazy if that's if that stuff like that start happening.
Yeah.
But I have no intentions really of checking out Scream 7. I'm so off of the franchise right now. I don't remember the last one I watched, like 3 or 4 or something like that, but I have been wanting to watch the ones with Jenna Ortega in them. So maybe I'll catch up. This one just feels like a cash grab, and like we gotta put something together quick, just because what we had last just kind of fell by the wayside, and we need something quick to stay on production schedule type of thing. So
exactly. I do recommend 5 and 6. 5 was all right as a way to relaunch the franchise, but 6 I thought was actually pretty incredible. And thank you so much, Blossom.
Yeah, shout out to Blossom with the $5 super chat here, starting our weekend off right. I've said it once, I'll say it again. AI is an insult to artists, let alone humans. Yeah, in the words of Guillermo del Toro, fuck AI, man. But yeah, anyway, Crystal says not gambling on a movie. I know it's gambling. You can gamble on anything these days. It's pretty insane.
Yeah.
But yeah, guys, let us know some of your thoughts. If you had the opportunity to check out any movies this week, certainly let me know. I wonder if Crystal checked out Wuthering Heights. I know she's a fan of romance and yearning for things, so I do wonder if she's had the opportunity to check out Wuthering Heights or not. They got a couple other movies coming out, I think, here soon. Hoppers, I believe, kicks off March. The Bride, also, that Maggie Gyllenhaal film, The Bride, comes out March 6th also. That's one I'm looking forward to. And the one that there's a couple actually really good ones. They Will Kill You on March 27th. I think we also have Ready or Not 2 on March 20th. And then we even have Project Hail Mary on March 20th as well. Crystal says, I did not see Wuthering Heights. I heard a lot of bad things about it. Haven't read the book yet.
I got mixed things. Like, I hear that the writing's not anyone's favorite, because they very much were they were very picky about which parts of the book to leave out and which ones to like keep in. And then on the other side of the coin, I hear that visually it looks absolutely incredible.
Okay, cool. Let's see. Remember, guys, as we go through these articles and talk about them, these are just simply our A+ opinions, but we always want to know yours. So feel free to communicate with us. Let your thoughts be known in the live chat. Give us some things to discuss and converse back and forth as we go through these topics. But I do want to show some love here to Ricky Perez. Hey, Adam, just saw the first look sneak peek at the upcoming second season live action One Piece series during FanFest 2026. Yeah, that's right around I think when does that drop? Does that drop in March or
April? In March, I believe.
In March, right?
I'm gonna look it up real quick. I'm excited for that show.
Also, last Friday marks the 30th anniversary of Pokemon. They show Pokemon presentation on news on upcoming games. That's crazy that Pokemon's 30 years old already. My brother's 33 right now. That felt very much like his generation. He loved him some Pokemon growing up. Also saw the sneak peek clip of the new episode of Star Trek Starfleet Academy on IGN's FanFest. Have you been watching this show, Stuart?
I have been. Okay, slightly rough start, and I think only, and not even the first episode. First episode was great, but slightly rough start after that, only because like I feel like the writers couldn't decide if they were writing college students or high school students because they just the way they act sometimes goes from being exactly what you would expect from a college show to are these kids even like, did they even graduate high school? What is this? But I do think it just took a few episodes for it to find its footing. But now that we're like, I think once it gets into episode 6, it's gotten really good. 6, 7, and 8 have been like incredible episodes. And I'm really digging almost all the characters. There's still like, I think what sucks is that the show doesn't know how to write like the typical bully character, or they don't know how to make the typical bully character interesting. They constantly tell us, oh, there's more to this character than what we see on the surface, but they're not really showing us very well with it, especially when it comes to some of the cadets at the war college, because this is like post-burn, so there's like a war college now, where it's just like you get them being bullies and there's not really much to it other than that. But apart from that, everything else about the show, I'm absolutely loving. I think so. Like all the other characters we get are great, especially Caleb. I freaking man, I want to see this show going on for 6, 7 seasons because I want to see Caleb become a captain. And I know the show is probably going to get canceled at the end of season 2 because of Paramount's whole big shift that they're making and things, and that is just way too bad. Because I feel like there's just so much potential to see with these characters going forward. So, but yeah, all that to be said, Starfleet Academy is great. I don't care what any of the grifters say.
Yeah, no, I've really been enjoying it too. The first 2 episodes dropped together. The first episode was good. The second episode to me felt really piloty. I didn't really care for the second season or the second episode. So I kind of went into episodes 3 with a little trepidation. But for me, I feel like each episode just continues to get better, honestly, ever since then. I've been a really big fan of the show. I haven't really kept up with the Star Trek show on a weekly basis, but the fact that I keep coming back to this one every week, I think says something in regards to the writing quality, the characters. If there's any aspect of the show that I'm really not the biggest fan of, it's probably the one of the female leads, and what's her name? Caleb's girlfriend that just hurt herself. Just came back. Tarima.
Yeah.
I don't care for her. Like, I just don't care. Like, from an acting perspective, character perspective, I don't care about her so much. But everybody else, I'm actually become a really big fan of. Sam is incredible. I am kind of curious to see where they go from here. But yeah, just each episode just honestly continues to surprise me in its own way and get better and better. So I am a big fan.
Okay, so the two of us should get Will to join us when the show ends to do like a season review.
Yeah, maybe we'll do that. If you haven't checked out Will's stuff, Will Polk over on Scene and Nerd, he does his Star Trek Blurred Talk. He does it every week at the end of Star Trek Starfleet Academy and runs down the episodes. So go ahead and check out the show. Check out his show whenever you can. But yeah, maybe we'll do like a season review in general of Starfleet Academy when he comes on board. You guys are a little bit more knowledgeable about Star Wars, and I could be the perspective of outsider kind of looking in. But yeah, let me know your guys' thoughts in that. But yeah, I think that will do it for some of the live viewer questions, or not live viewer questions, but some of the comments. And feel free to keep them coming in, guys, as we go through this today's episode. But with that out of the way, let's go ahead and kick off the show with our first segment of the day. I might change the perspective here a little bit for us. Let's get some nice close-up shots of both of our handsome faces here. We'll see how the honorable mentions works. I'm always messing around with the camera angles here because, not only do we do go live landscape wise, but we also go live, was it portrait wise, I believe, too. Just for preference, if you're watching on your phone or if you're watching on your TV, you can kind of pick and choose. But I want to see how this angle works today for some honorable mentions. If this is your first time joining the show, honorable mentions, just topics that didn't quite necessarily make our top 6 today, but things that we felt you certainly still deserve to know about. Stuart, I don't know if you have an honorable mention. I have a couple, but if you've got one, let me know.
Nope, not today.
Not today. All right. We got some brand new character posters from the Stranger Things Tales from 85, the new animated series set to go ahead and drop April 23rd over on Netflix for you guys. I love these. Look, the artwork for this series looks incredible. I really do love these posters, whether it's just a color scheme or just the animation style in general. I'm a really big fan of it. I don't know any other animation that this really kind of reminds me of that I've watched before. But yeah, I dig all of them. Everybody looks like their characters, honestly, to me. We do have a brand new character that's going to be joining the cast. I can't remember this character's name off the top of my head, but one of the girls who was in one of the actresses that was in Marty Supreme, I think it wasn't his girlfriend, but the one that he wound up getting pregnant, and she was trying to be with him the entirety of the movie. She's supposed to be voicing this particular character, but the fact that we don't see this character in any other season does make me curious as to what role she plays. Is she just going to be in season 1? If there is a season 2 of Tales from 85, how long will she certainly be around? But that's really the only new character it seems that they're at least highlighting visually. But yeah, we got some new character posters. What do you think of them, Stu?
Yeah, I agree. I like the art style. They kind of, it's weird. They kind of remind me of holiday greeting cards, honestly.
Oh yeah.
But I do think that, yeah, they all match the individual characters perfectly. But looking at the trailer, the animation itself, though, kind of reminds me of the Telltale video games, like the Walking Dead video games or the Game of Thrones one.
Nice. I could see that. I could see that. But yeah, let us know what you guys think about that. We also got the Matrix 5 is in the news, believe it or not. Following an initial announcement back in 2024, updates on the Matrix 5 have been minimal, but there is some good news over on screenrant.com. They had the opportunity to sit down with Drew Goddard, who confirmed that the 5th installment is still in the works. He says, I'm in my writing cave writing. I don't know how long I'll be in that writing cave, but whenever I come out, I'll have news to share. So the Matrix 5 has not gone anywhere so far. We'll see. Now that things are changing over at Warner Brothers, we'll see if they continue along with this. But apparently Drew Goddard is still working on the Matrix 5, Stuart.
Do you know if like either the Wachowskis are still going to be involved, or are they still, or is Warner Brothers really pissed off about Matrix 4?
They might still be pissed off about Matrix 4. I don't know. I haven't seen anything. It's really been minimal. Like they said, the updates have been really hard to come by. We also wound up getting a new look, actually our first look at the God of War television series. It's going to be show run by Ronald D. Moore. I believe this. I'm pretty sure I saw this yesterday, Stuart. I'm going to confirm this real quick, but I believe this is an official look. But yeah, God of War just dropped this on. Yeah, God of War first look. Even Variety and stuff are reporting it. But this is in fact Ryan Hurst as Kratos. And then they also got the young actor Caleb Vinson as the young son Atreus in here as well. But this is our first look at the God of War television series. I've been seeing some people kind of crap on it a little bit. Some people excited for it. I will say when I saw this, I was kind of taken aback a little bit. I think for me, it's just it's just, to me, it just feels like this is definitely a set piece, right? Like, it doesn't feel like
Mhm.
it's being filmed. Like, to me, it doesn't feel like it's being filmed on location, but maybe I'm wrong. The lighting seems a little bit off. It doesn't feel like it's got that cinematic sort of a grading to it just yet. You know what I mean? This almost feels like this was just a picture that was almost like just like a traditional promo shot, without any movement, without any grading or cinematic feature to it. So I can see how it kind of looks off to some people, but it does make me kind of curious as to what the final result of the show is certainly going to be. Some people said it felt a little fan filmy to them. But one of the things that we've said before in the past is we can't necessarily judge an entire show based off of just one image or a first look. It's usually not shown in the context that it's meant to be shown in. So yeah, maybe the lighting seems a little bit off, not as natural, but I can see where people would complain a little bit, because when I look at this feels kind of like Hercules and Xena, warrior princess type of quality of show, right? But like just visually, at least from the first look picture, it looks like that way to me, just because it feels like I'm on a set instead of in a natural location. So it does kind of throw me off a little bit. But I am kind of curious as to what you think about this, Stuart, just from first impressions.
I think like yeah, it's weird because like I can't quite articulate why, but something does. I kind of agree. Something does feel very cheap about it. The only thing I can kind of think of why I look at this and this feels more like cosplay rather than like an actual set is because of how like the makeup and the costumes are so accurate to the video game, but then you have two actors that look nothing like the video game characters, and I think the combination of those two, it's what's throwing me off and making me think of cosplay rather than an adaptation, because adaptations will usually change something to make it not look completely accurate or look exactly like the game. So I don't know, there's, again, it's hard for me to articulate why, but something does look kind of weird about this photo. It's definitely not going to change my thoughts on the show when it comes out. I still am looking forward to it, but yeah, I get where people are coming from with this one.
Yeah, I could definitely see it too. I still have big hopes for this show though, regardless. And like we always say, right? Like the first look of something doesn't necessarily determine the quality of the show. I certainly still trust Ronald D. Moore in regards to what he's putting together, but there is something off about this image, and I just don't know if it's because of the context in which the picture was taken or whatever the case may be. It doesn't feel like this is them shooting on location. I don't know. It just feels like a promo still shot to me, so it kind of throws things off a little bit. But let me know your guys' thoughts in the comment section box below. What's the next story I want to dive into? I'm going to make the Mortal Kombat thing last. And we do have an update in regards to the upcoming X-Files from Ryan Coogler. That's right. Apparently, according to Deadline.com, Hulu has picked up a pilot order for the X-Files reboot. Ryan Coogler's law just stating the X-Files reboot has received a pilot green light at Hulu. He is writing and directing the pilot for the new X-Files. It says that in it, two highly decorated but vastly different FBI agents, one played by Danielle Deadweiler from The Piano Lesson, form an unlikely bond when they are assigned to a long shuttered division devoted to cases involving unexplained phenomena. X-Files creator Chris Carter will executive produce this as well. It says the pilot order caps a 3-year journey for the project, which falls under Black Panther director Ryan Coogler's 5-year exclusive television deal with Disney. So they're getting themselves a pilot order. So they'll go ahead. It does say in here, like, I feel like we're not used to pilot orders in the world of streaming these days. That feels very like old school syndicated television. But apparently the article does go on to say that when it comes to streaming, that they are trying to do things a little bit differently. I think they're trying to get back to the television model of things. You order a pilot, You see how it's done, and then if you like what you see, then you order an entire series. Sometimes we're used to seeing like entire series has been ordered or series ordered or greenlit type of thing. But some streaming services, I think, are getting back to, let's see what the pilot looks like. If we like what we see, then we'll kind of move forward. So that's the stage that Ryan Coogler's X-Files is in, and I'm just happy that it's here, because I Ryan Coogler has done no wrong for me yet, and I'm really fascinated to see just what his vision of something like the X-Files is going to look like.
Yeah, I didn't watch too much X-Files back in the day, but I do think that, yeah, bringing it back, I feel like this is a show that will resonate with audiences no matter what time. So I feel like, yeah, this is a perfect show for rebooting.
Yeah, and especially now that the government has declassified certain things or come out and talked about the idea. Oh yeah, aliens are real, and whatever the case may be. I am kind of curious how Ryan tackles that in this show, now that they're a little bit more open to talking about things. But yeah, we'll see how that turns out. And then last but not least, guys, we did have a brand new Mortal Kombat 2 not only poster but a brand new trailer that wind up dropping here this week. This movie is to go ahead and drop May 8th. It was originally slated for, I think, October of 2025 or November of 2025, but I think the studio it was pretty excited in regards to what they had on their hands, saw the level of excitement for the trailer that they had dropped, and they're like, you know what, this might be a summer blockbuster, y'all. So they wind up moving this to May 8th for Mortal Kombat 2, and a brand new trailer did drop here this week. If you did not have the opportunity to check out the trailer, don't worry. Let me see if I can pull this up here. I don't know if you've got it, Stuart, but do I have it? I think I got it. Let me see.
I got it, but I don't think it'll let me share.
Oh, that's right. That's right. Yeah, you're right. I don't think it will either, but hold on one moment. Let me go ahead and share this with you guys. Let's see how this has us looking when I share it. Okay, there we go. I might explode this up just a little bit, so I might cut off a little bit of it. I don't want to get copywritten too badly, but let's play this bad boy.
You want to know what makes a hero? It's not destiny. It's not something you're born with. It's searching for greatness.
Johnny Cage, you have been chosen for Mortal Kombat.
Then realizing you've had it in you this entire time.
Real quick, I do want to say, just from kicking off the trailer, visually, it looks fantastic. Like visually, like the scope of this movie just looks so much bigger than what we wind up getting for the first Mortal Kombat movie. It's almost like the studio's like, here's a bigger budget. Let's really like aim for the skies on this one. Visually, from just the scale and scope and special effects so far, looks great. But I also do love the journey that Johnny seemingly finds himself in, that he's very much like not retired, but like almost like a washed up actor. I mean, the fact that Homeboy's at a convention and he's got nobody in his line, like I feel like I see that all the time when I go to conventions. There's always like, those individuals that have been around for such a long time that had peaks of popularity, but now people just kind of walk past and are have their eyes set on other stars, sort of thing. So the idea of people having issues with Carl Urban playing an older Johnny Cage, I almost feel like this is probably like naturally for him. I do think, I have a feeling like story-wise, this kind of makes sense for him.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see here. What else we got?
Whoa! I really don't feel comfortable hitting a girl.
Don't worry. You won't.
Yo, send me back. I want to go back.
The rules of the tournament are simple. Our fates would not be settled by the size of our armies. They would be...
I mean, look at that. I mean, it's gorgeous, Stuart. It's gorgeous.
the moment they narrated the rules of our tournament are simple, I'm like, wait, is this an actual tournament fighter this time? Because I think that's what disappointed me in the first movie, is that the trailer kind of misled us. Like, they made it seem like our main character had been chosen for this tournament, which made me think that that's where the movie was going. And then the movie ends before we ever even get to that tournament, which I don't know. I look at movies like I always get Enter the Dragon mixed up with Way of the Dragon. I want to make sure I'm talking about the
Enter
right
the
one.
Dragon.
That was the tournament one. Okay, cool. So Enter the Dragon, great movie, tournament movie. Everyone was still able to have like a character art. You were able to have like some really good action scenes, and they were still able to make some stakes, raise stakes by having a villain and all that. So I don't know why it's taken so long for them to kind of do that in a fighter movie. I think that if they ever do a Street Fighter movie, that's what I want from it. I don't want it to necessarily be a story that just involves these characters. It's like, no, I want a tournament fighter movie.
And Cole's nowhere to be found in this tournament. I have not seen a picture of him at all in any of these trailers, it feels like.
Yeah.
Decided by combat.
Damn, that looks good.
I'm not some great warrior. I'm not some champion.
This is a war for the fate of your world.
Finish him!
Me.
Earth belongs to me.
We do not kneel!
Our only chance is to face this together.
Let's go, baby.
Dang.
You, Johnny Cage, are a part of this now.
Stuart, I gotta ask, are the same writers and directors back? I cannot remember. I feel like they might have switched them out for somebody. Maybe the writers might still be there, but I have a feeling that the directors might have gone elsewhere, or maybe I have it flipped, because it's like it just feels like there's no way that same creative team from the first one came back and made this movie. So there's a part of me that feels like somebody wind up getting replaced or whatever the case may be. But like, this is what I'm talking about. This is definitely this is tournament style. Like, all the different combinations of battles that we've seen in this trailer alone look phenomenal. I've been waiting to see Ludi Lin certainly return also. That's my boy from Power Rangers. So the fact that he's playing Liu Kang again, right? The fact that he's really getting into his bag in here. The power ups look insane. I truly cannot wait for this movie. It looks really good. You see anything with the creative?
Okay, so it is, same director. The writing team, it's hard to tell because, hang on, I have to look at them individually, because each one or both movies are written by 3 different people.
Oh, okay. I
yeah, it's a completely different set of writers. So the first one was written by 3 completely different people than the 3 people that are writing this movie. So, but it is the same director, it looks like.
Because it feels like, alone just from the trailer, like from a narrative perspective, this actually has intelligent pathway for these characters and character arcs, and things are very character driven. It feels like, on top of great action. So the fact that they kept the director, but they're like, no, we know we need to tell a better story. Good move on the studio.
Yeah, I mean, I would have kept the director too, because even though I didn't love the writing in the first movie, I still think, just like with this one, like costume designs, visually, I think they look, and even the action scenes I thought were incredible.
Yeah, they really are.
Get over here!
Woo!
Johnny would definitely die.
I cannot wait, man. I cannot wait. The more and more I see of this movie, the more excited I am. And I'm not somebody that really cared for the first one, but they have convinced me that they do have a summer blockbuster on their hands. I feel like this movie is about to make a ton of freaking money at the box office. I'm just being real. It looks good to me.
You know what this reminds me of is I mean, I guess it's only the director and main star in this case, but I still get the vibe of G.I. Joe Retaliation, where the studio was so unhappy with the first movie that they just like killed everyone off in the sequel and just replaced them with brand new characters, and then including a completely different writing team, new director, completely changed the tone by making it like a more of a gritty kind of action film, giving it a full-on R rating. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was rated R. But yeah, completely like, it does not feel like a sequel to the first G.I. Joe movie, and that's kind of the vibe I get with this Mortal Kombat movie, is that it even though it visually looks similar to the first one, story-wise, it almost feels like this is the first of like a franchise. It feels like they're just
Right.
completely ignoring the first one,
one.
in the similar way they did with G.I. Joe Retaliation.
It feels like it because Cole, I don't see Cole in this movie at all from the first one, and I thought he was supposed to be like their big new main character that they wanted to establish in the first part, and he's got a character poster, but I don't see him anywhere in this movie.
Yeah. In fact, like, I thought
Wouldn't
the
it be
whole point
crazy
was that he was I thought he was
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying, I thought he was supposed to be the new Scorpion, but then I saw at some point in the trailer, Scorpion's mask comes off, and it's the guy that played Scorpion in the first movie. So yeah, no, clearly he's not the new Scorpion like they kind of set up.
I think Cole's going to be the first one to die in this tournament. I think they're going to off my man immediately.
If they do that, then yeah, what I say stands. This is G.I. Joe Retaliation for sure.
I love it. But let us know your thoughts, guys, in regards to some of this. Real quick, we got Marcelino in the house. It was announced that Ronda Rousey and Gina Carano will fight. They're both egotistical narcissists, so they both deserve each other. Yeah, I'm actually kind of looking forward to that fight. I'm not gonna lie. Marcelino says, "Why does God of War image look like AI? It looks terrible." I think Ryan Hurst did come out and have a comment in regards to it. I can't remember what he said. I was trying to find his quote, but I think he was saying something like, "Not everything is as it seems," or something like that. I can't quite remember his exact quote in regards to it, but I will be curious to see how this turns around. We got Night of OA in the house. What's up? Talking about the Tales from 85. I love the art style of the posters and the animation. Yeah, you and me both, Night. I'm a big fan of what I'm seeing so far from Tales from 85. But with that out of the way, that will do it for our honorable mentions, and it is time to officially kick off our show with our main topics. You ready to get into these main topics with me, Stuart?
Always.
I think I need to invest in like a new, like another intro for main topics, to break it up between honorable mentions and live viewer questions. I think I need an animation for main topics. Maybe I'll get to work on that.
It's got to be something epic. Let everyone know this is the main part of the show.
The main part of the show. We got 6 incredible topics for you guys today. We're going to get into some Spider-Verse talk, not necessarily just the animation side of things, but more or less on the Sony picture side, live action stuff. We got some Darth Maul discussions as Sam Witwer is doing a little bit of a press tour, talking about the series itself and the growth of Darth Maul. We got some Resident Evil news. Zach Cregger is certainly back in the news, and some big developments in regards to this damn Warner Brothers bidding war. We've always told you we're going to keep you guys up to date, and we got a new update and a couple other topics to explore as well. But let's go ahead and get into our main topic today, Stuart. Sony Pictures. What does the future hold for the Spider-Man universe? To get you guys caught up if you missed it, after the flop that was Kraven the Hunter, Sony Pictures came out and said that they were putting a pause on a lot of their live action movies, that they really wanted to focus and turn their attention to what they did have in the works. That would include Beyond the Spider-Verse, the animation stuff, along with their team up of Marvel Pictures with Marvel Studios to go ahead and drop Spider-Man Brand New Day. So that's where their focus has truly been. But this week, we wind up getting a quote from the Sony CEO, Tom Rothman, I believe, that finally gave us a brief glimpse as to potentially where the Spider-Man universe could potentially be going. It's certainly one that I think surprised myself, but certainly worth checking out. So let's go ahead and dive into this article. This one actually came to us from, I believe this is Comic Book Resources. Yes. Here, let's pull this up here. This might surprise some of you. I don't know. Maybe this is good news. Maybe this is bad news for some of you guys out there. But according to Comic Book Resources, Spider-Man movies set for a fresh reboot, confirms the Sony CEO. Let's see what the article says here. It says it's no secret that Sony's previous attempt to create a cinematic universe focused on a secondary Spider-Man characters fell flat, delivering some box office bombs after another. They do mention the likes of Kraven the Hunter in here. They also, let me see, goodness, my things are acting up, being a little bit slow. Kraven the Hunter. We also had Madam Web as well. I don't remember how Venom: The Last Dance did at the box office. I don't think it made as much as the previous Venoms, but maybe I'm wrong. They also go on to highlight Morbius as well. But speaking with the podcast, The Town with Matthew Baloney, Tom Rothman, the CEO, confirmed that yes, there are plans to return to the live-action Spider-Verse. And yes, when the studio does, it will be, as Baloney phrased it, a fresh reboot. Now, he did not expand on Sony's plans for its Spider-Man film franchise. The biggest question is whether this fresh reboot will include a fresh Spider-Man. Tom Holland is returning as Spider-Man in Brand New Day, and Rothman has expressed great confidence in the film. Never bet against Kevin Feige. Knows what he's doing. So there you go. We got from the Sony CEO himself stating that when we do return to live-action Spider-Man films, this will in fact be a fresh reboot. So Stuart, I got to ask you, man. I've talked a little bit about this already on my TikTok page. I did a quick little thought piece in regards to it. I was going to go ahead and post something on YouTube earlier this week, but my week just got a little bit away from me. But I am curious. You hear this from you hear this from Tom Rothman. What are your thoughts? What does a fresh reboot to you sort of look like?
Well, to me, a fresh reboot is like completely starting over from the ground up, including like new cast and yeah, completely new universe. So that's what I think he means, is that like whether or not this means they're going to be no longer working with Marvel Studios, I don't know, because I could see, I mean, they do kind of have like multiple, or for a while they had multiple Spider-Man projects going on all at once, you know, with their Spider-Verse movies with Tom Holland, and then of course with the villain origin movies for Spider-Man. So I could kind of see them doing something similar, just like instead of it being like, you know, several different spanning projects, it would probably, after they're done with the Spider-Verse movies, it would probably just be down to a couple. So I could see Sony having their, you know, new Spider-Man reboot franchise, but also still working with Marvel to have Tom Holland doing his own thing within the MCU, if they're still interested in working with Marvel when that happens. But yeah, that's what it sounds like he means by it.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely am still hoping that regardless of what this fresh reboot consists of, I still think that they will continue to work with Marvel Pictures to create Tom Holland Spider-Man movies. I mean, from a financial point of view, and they make most of their money from this team up here. I mean, they still have some level of control, at least in regards to distributing and marketing and kind of putting it together. I'm sure they sit down with Marvel and come up with whatever the story certainly might be, but I think Marvel Studios probably takes the more reins of it in regards to its casting and maybe the creative direction that Sony is comfortable with, and really plugging and playing a lot of their MCU characters into these movies. So I think the partnership between Marvel Studios and Sony Pictures has certainly benefited it. You know, look, to me, you know, I think there was even like rumors that after they decided to put a halt on things, that this might have meant Sony Pictures was going to sell the rights back to Marvel Studios, sort of thing. And I don't see that ever happening. Like I just don't, unless Sony Pictures is like looking to sell their company at some point in time. Maybe that's the case, but having the rights to Spider-Man is a moneymaker. I mean, I don't want to say it's guaranteed or anything like that, but it's such a hot commodity. I don't see Sony Pictures ever loosening their grip on it, if at all possible. So I do expect them to continue to do their things. And look, when you've got all those characters, something has to be done with them. I mean, you can't just sit on them, sort of thing. So a fresh reboot, I think, is certainly needed. And I'll also emphasize the two things that I talked about prior over on my TikTok video that I think is important here. If we're going to do a fresh reboot, the article does say, does this include a fresh or a new Spider-Man? There's a part of me that thinks that it certainly should. I think one of the complaints that we've had is that while, yes, it's cool to see some of these villains turn to anti-heroes and have their own solo films, or at least be explored in a solo film, if you're going to call it the Spider-Man universe, there's got to be a Spider-Man involved somewhere, right? And we've never had a Spider-Man in this universe. Tom Holland has never come over and done a solo Sony Pictures film, if you will, without the Marvel Studios banner. So where do we go from here? I think you do need a Spider-Man in this universe, and I think the perfect Spider-Man is Miles Morales. So one would be, you need Miles Morales as your Spider-Man. Wherever Beyond the Spider-Verse winds up taking you, we've had a theory around here for years now that Beyond the Spider-Verse was going to take Miles from the animation world and place him in live action. If that tends to be the case, that's cool. Even if it's not, I think you start your live action Miles Morales movies. I mean, he's become a household name. He's when people think of Spider-Man, they no longer just think of Peter Parker. Miles Morales is in that conversation easily. And so he should have his own live action movie. Whether it's a live action solo movie, we'll see. Whether it's another villain type of movie, but Miles Morales is going to be as a cameo in there, that's fine. But I think the first important thing on a fresh reboot is get a Spider-Man in this universe, and I think it deserves to be Miles Morales. Now, I don't know what the rights are in regards to, is Miles Morales, like, are they going to allow Marvel Studios to use him in the MCU movies, or does Miles Morales stay solely on the Sony Pictures side? I wouldn't mind a little bit both. Like, for me, like, my dream scenario would be Miles Morales popping up in like Secret Wars or something like that, and then being thrust into his own universe in his first sort of live action film on the Sony Picture side of things. But I think there's a lot that you can certainly do with the character. But the first thing that you need to do, you need to get a Spider-Man in this universe. And my shot is for Miles Morales. And then secondly, you need new creative vision for this fresh reboot, right? Like, whatever Amy Pascal and Avi Arad has kind of done on that side clearly has not been working. And so if you're going to do a fresh reboot, don't get the same people to make the same mistakes that they've done, because they clearly have not. Like, you've had opportunities with like 3 or 4 solo films and you haven't learned from like any of them. So my second thing would be bring in creative, love and know this character. And if Stuart, if I can have a suggestion, I would love none other, and you know where this is going, Lord and Miller. Lord and Miller, baby. Okay. They've proven themselves on the animation front to make stellar movies for you. They're about to prove themselves to make a stellar Spider Noir live action series. And granted, while they're not writing or directing it, they're executive producers on it. So they've been involved with the casting, the creative choices. I expect Spider Noir to certainly impress. So if they can impress on the live action Spider-Man front and series wise, I think they're also going to impress highly in regards to this Project Hail Mary movie that's about to drop in March. That's already being called a masterpiece by some people. Like, give Lord and Miller complete control of the Spider-Man universe. They've shown that they're more than capable of doing that with Miles Morales. And if Miles Morales does end up being your live action Spider-Man, the two people that I want helming his future in regards to live action, Lord and Miller, whether they be part of the writing team, whether you bring them on to direct these movies. I don't care what it is, but they need to be more involved on the film side of things than just animation and television. So those would be my two suggestions for a fresh reboot. Miles Morales and Lord and Miller need to be involved in this. And then I think if they can do those two things, Stuart, even if it's not Lord and Miller, but bringing in some competent people that understand the characters and love these characters and can make them really flourish, then I do think there's a potential here, because these movies should not be bombing at the box office. These movies should be fantastically great, especially with the rogues gallery and the characters that Spider-Man has. But those are just some of my thoughts on that, Stuart.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I think that like Lord and Miller, if they don't want to direct or write any more Spider-Man movies, totally fine. I think that they would be great as like kind of in a Kevin Feige or James Gunn type of role, where it's like you just have them overseeing the movies, being the ones to hire, being the ones to kind of like decide where the direction of the franchise would go. I think that would be perfect. The one thing that'll screw this whole thing up though, and I say this because it's Spider-Man. We got to get him right, like you said. We got to get our Spider-Man right before we do anything else. I really hope they don't try to pump out multiple movies a year. It's like the reason they got to make a Spider-Man movie every 5 years is because if they don't, they lose the rights. So it's like, guys, Sony, you got 5 years after you make a Spider-Man movie to decide what you want to do with your next one. Do you want to release like 7 within that 5 years? Do you want to release 7 barely breaking even, maybe if you're lucky, flops? Or would you rather release like 1 or 2 really big movies that end up breaking $1 billion? Because I can guarantee you're not going to break $1 billion if you try to pump out more than like 2 Spider-Man movies a year. So that is my suggestion to Sony. So I like you, I think that first of all, whether they choose to go with Peter Parker or Miles Morales, personally, for me, I think going with Miles Morales to start off the franchise while having Peter Parker as kind of a mentor character would be a great route to go. Especially because like one of my favorite aspects in the hero's journey is like the dying mentor. So I could totally see them using Peter Parker as kind of the dying mentor in that movie. I know it would probably come off as too similar to Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, but I think you could make it work with the right people behind it. But yeah, like again, yeah, I want them to just focus on making a Spider-Man movie before they start doing like all the spin-offs that they're going for. The other thing too, so I was thinking about this the other day, specifically when it came to the Baldur's Gate TV show for HBO Max that's going to be coming out soon. So like my thoughts on it were whether or not the showrunner approached HBO with this idea, or did HBO approach the showrunner with this idea? And finding out that it was HBO that approached him gets me not very excited about it. I think that's what it is, though, when it comes to the villain origin stories that I'm looking forward to from DC that are coming out compared to what we've already gotten to, or compared to what we've already gotten from Marvel, or from specifically Sony Marvel, where it's like Sony Marvel are going through their catalog of different Spider-Man villains, and they're the ones approaching different directors to see if they want to do this. Whereas I think the better route is the way they did it with the upcoming Clayface movie, and why I'm really looking forward to that, because that wasn't James Gunn going up to Mike Flanagan and asking, "Hey, Mike, could you write me a Clayface movie?" No, this was Mike Flanagan suggesting a Clayface movie to James Gunn. And I think that is kind of the key to a better movie, honestly. Whether or not there's like an actual like passion project behind it, or if it's done, specifically just as a job. Another great example is The Mandalorian, and why I think season 1 was so incredible. Disney didn't approach Jon Favreau to do The Mandalorian. Jon Favreau approached Disney with the idea of The Mandalorian, and then you get one of the best seasons of television. So I think that that's like a big distinction. So I think that if we do get villain origin stories, from future Sony projects, I just hope they come from people bringing the idea to Sony, and not Sony just once again throwing a dart at the board of their Spider-Man catalog and then going, that guy, well, we'll make a villain origin movie with that guy next. So yeah, I do think that rebooting the franchise is the smart move for Sony, because they got to keep the rights to Spider-Man, and also, you know, as much as I love Tom Holland, I'm ready for something new. So, you know, I'm ready to see a new Peter Parker, new Miles Morales, see a new whole, you know, world open to Spider-Man, a fresh new take on this world. Yeah, I just don't want them to, you know, rush it like they've been doing in the past. I don't want them to try to compete with Marvel. I want them to do their own thing. Go back to going with movies one at a time, like what they did with the Sam Raimi movies, like they started doing when they made the first Amazing Spider-Man movie, before Amazing Spider-Man 2 became a trailer for a bunch of spin-offs.
Yeah, like well, first off, I don't see Tom Holland going anywhere. I still think Tom Holland will be the Peter Parker Spider-Man, at least when it comes to the MCU. Now, you do make an interesting point. Like, I think both can exist. I think a Tom Holland Spider-Man on the MCU side can work. A Miles Morales Spider-Man on the Sony Pictures side, I think, could work. You know, you bring up the idea of mentorship. You know, I don't know if Miles even needs a mentor at this point in time, based off of his just adventures that we've seen so far from his first 2 animated movies, and then maybe potentially in Beyond the Spider-Verse. Maybe by the time at the end of Beyond the Spider-Verse, maybe he is sort of like his own man. But, you know, if we do want to bring in a mentor, I think this is like where the idea of, like, if you want to see a returning Tobey Maguire, like, maybe that would be a really cool, like, a mentorship for Miles Morales, if you want to play in that sort of aspect of the Sony Spider-Man universe. Maybe we go back that route. And it is one of those things too where I would agree with you. I would start off with a solo Spider-Man movie. If you do want to do a solo villains movie, I would be like, where would you go? Like, you've really ruined a lot of these characters already. Like, what direction do you go that that hasn't necessarily been done already, and can you resuscitate them in that way? So maybe the solo Spider-Man film route is the way to go, instead of kicking us off with more villain movies that you might potentially ruin for us. So we'll see what they have in mind for this fresh reboot. This is the first time that we've heard of their Spider-Man universe live action in a long time. So we'll keep you guys posted on more that we learn about from this potential of a fresh reboot. But I am curious to you guys, what does a fresh reboot look like to you guys under the Sony Pictures wing of things? Do you have any ideas, any words of advice for Sony that you think would help them steer themselves in the correct direction? We would certainly go ahead and love to know your guys' thoughts in the live chat. But yeah, I think there's a lot of potential here for a reboot. Do you think they'll use new villains or restart with previous villains? You know, I don't know. Like if we introduce a Miles Morales Spider-Man movie, do you bring back Aaron Taylor Johnson to play Kraven the Hunter, or
God,
or,
no.
or are we just like, this is really a fresh reboot, and we're gonna either utilize new villains or restart with previous villains and maybe have them return? Like, I don't expect to see Venom anytime soon, because I do think that there's works right now for Venom to be a animated movie, is what I think we talked about last week when you weren't here, Stuart. But I don't know, would you tackle new villains, or would you want to restart some of the ones they've already done?
I'd want to do like I guess, okay, so if I'm doing a first Spider-Man movie and I'm a producer deciding which villains to use, I'd want to use one that people are familiar with, different actor, of course, so not one that's been already established by a different actor, but I would want to use like someone like, you know, Dr. Otto Octavius, Scorpion, you know, someone familiar. And then I would want to go with like a secondary villain. That would be someone that's not quite as common, someone that's like, you know, like known but not like necessarily in the movie universes of Spider-Man. So that's how I would start it anyways, as like kind of a way to let the audience know that yes, we're giving you something familiar, but we're not afraid to add something new to it as well.
Yeah, Marcino says, do you I think he clarifies what he said before. He says, do you think they will use new versions of previous villains, like
Yes.
Kraven as you know, as Venom, or Scorpion as Venom? Yeah, potentially.
I hope if they bring back Kraven, they use Jeffrey. If he's still kicking by the time they eventually get to that movie, I kind of want Jeffrey Dean Morgan or Ron Perlman as Craven. I want someone who looks like they're ripped straight out of the comic books, to play the character.
Yeah, that'd be dope. Somebody just give me a Hobgoblin already, man. Like I've been waiting for a Hobgoblin anything at this point. Like please. So we'll see how it turns out. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to what the CEO had to say. And with that out of the way, guys, let's get into our Star Wars bag, baby, shall we? We got some Star Wars for you because we have ourselves a brand new animated series that's set to go ahead and drop here in April, kicking us off in April. I believe it's an 8-episode series, maybe a 10 episodes. I can't remember off the top of my head, but Darth Maul, baby, is set to return. We've had a couple of trailers in regards to this already. I've been very critical of the overusage of the Clone Wars animation, but I got to tell you, Stuart, I feel like they have really kicked it up a notch. Like I don't know what they're doing this time around, but my God, this show looks clean. It looks great. It looks dark. It looks gritty. And anytime you get Sam Witwer to certainly return to voice Darth Maul, I think you're certainly doing something right. And Sam Witwer is in the news this week. I don't know if he's on a press tour right now, but he's definitely hyping up this show as he wanted to give us further details in regards to what we can expect, not only from the show, but Darth Maul himself, as he is ever changing, to certainly say the least. Let's go ahead and bring this up from Sam Witwer. This is from the Hollow Files. What's up, Hollow Files? Shout out to the Hollow Files over on Twitter. They do some great work over there. Sam Witwer reveals how Maul has changed in Shadow Lord. It says in the penultimate issue of Star Wars Insider, Sam Witwer gave an insightful interview as he dives into the upcoming animated series premiering April 6th on Disney Plus. In the interview, Whitner explains Maul's motivations in the show, how he has changed since the Clone Wars, his unexpected stance on the Jedi, and a lot more. So let's see here. I don't even know how long this article is, but it says, what are Maul's state of mind and motivations? He goes on to say, well, first off, it says Sam Witwer's been playing Maul for 15 years. That's crazy. So if there's anybody that knows this character, it's him. This is what Witwer has to say. He's confused. He's a little apprehensive. The series picks up right after the Clone Wars. I believe it's right after Clone Wars Season 7. The Empire has taken over, and Maul's reassessing everything. There are plans in place that were supposed to insulate him from the changes when the Empire came to power. And a lot of people that were supposed to be there for him were not. He's getting back on his feet. The dust is clearing, and he's looking around at the Empire, the thing he and his master have been working towards since he was apprentice, and thinking, is this what Palpatine had in mind? How do I feel about this? Oh, so that's kind of interesting, right? I mean, the idea alone of like you were working behind the shadows to help the Emperor create something that you guys clearly shared this vision for, and it's got to be trippy for him, the fact that he's no longer involved, but now you see what that vision included and really questioning if this is what you was worth fighting for all this time, type of thing, right? Like, is this how I kind of pictured it? So immediately it kind of gives you his I don't want to say his pushback, but his viewpoints in regards to how the Emperor is handling all these changes.
So wait, Darth Maul is basically Marjorie Taylor Greene and Joe Rogan.
You having second thoughts, like, I believed in these conspiracy theories, but this ain't going the way that I thought it was gonna go anymore. Yeah, bro. That's so crazy. Witwer did elaborate on Maul's new stance towards Palpatine. He says he's very angry at Palpatine. He understands now that the guy is the root of his suffering. In Shadow Lord, he sees it even clearer. Everywhere he looks in the Empire, he sees Palpatine's hand. If Maul's going to shake his fist at him, he has to believe he's somehow superior to Palpatine. If he's not, then he deserves everything that happened to him.
So I'm very curious. So this takes place before Solo, right?
I would assume so. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I would assume so. I don't necessarily think he's the head. Like I think if anything, this might show how he gets into that position, maybe. But yeah, so I'm assuming this is right after Clone Wars season 7, but before Solo.
Okay, cool. That makes sense. Okay, so this is like his rise to power, but it's not like, yeah. So I'm curious then if this show will like go, depending on the longevity of this series, because I really want to see how he went from being like, going back up onto the top of being like the head of the crime syndicate, and then falling back down from grace again, and then going completely insane like we see in Star Wars Rebels.
They also go on. Let me go ahead and bring this back up here. Witwer also reveals that as Maul begins to reassess the empire that Palpatine has forged, he pursues ambitions of his own. In the opening episode, you see him pulling strings, trying to build a new power base. His plan is ambitious, but he struggles with whether he's the puppet master or the guy who goes and takes care of things himself. He doesn't delegate well. He's so used to being the one who handles everything personally that he often still goes to do it when maybe he shouldn't. Delegation is very difficult. He doesn't trust easily. Let me see here. Although he doesn't trust easily, Maul relies on the Mandalorian Rook cast, who's being voiced by Vanessa Marshall. Wait. Doesn't Vanessa Marshall already voice somebody? Didn't she voice somebody on Rebels? Wasn't she damn it. I'm pretty sure Vanessa Marshall has voiced somebody right off of Rebels. I don't know why I'm blanking right now. Anyway, while you look that up.
Yeah.
Relies on the Mandalorian Rook cast. Okay, this is Rook cast right here in this image that they're showing. His first lieutenant. Rook cast is his first lieutenant, and the relationship is interesting because Maul actually listens to her. He's learned that people have valuable points of view that, unlike Palpatine, he needs to hear bad news sometimes. So he's figuring out what it really means to be a Shadow Lord. As his psyche evolves, he says he is still the same ruthless, dangerous figure in the show. If you cross him, you're done. So yeah, Vanessa Marshall.
Oh, she was the voice of Hera.
Yes, I was like, bro. I was like, I know she voiced somebody extremely popular on the show. So that's cool that they're actually bringing her back to do something else as well.
But yeah, I always do love that character where it's like they may be like kind of like not they may be your lackey, or they may be like working for you, but they're not necessarily afraid of you, because like the way they phrase in the article of she's not afraid to tell Darth Maul bad news, where it's like I feel like, as we see from in other Star Wars movies, where like people are always afraid to tell like the highest up like the really bad news, because then what tends to come next?
yeah. I'm sorry, I keep going through this. I didn't realize this article was as long as it was. How Maul's conflict with Ahsoka in season 7 forever changed him. It says the last time that we saw Maul was the Siege of Mandalore arc of the Clone Wars. Defeat at the hands of Ahsoka Tano marked just the last stumble in Maul's grand plans for the galaxy, and it seems that this defeat has a lasting impact on him. He says he told the truth to Ahsoka about Palpatine's plans. Everything he said was true, and he was the only character who had a workable plan when the Empire was about to come to power. He just blew the pitch. He says in this new series, he's learned to fight in other ways too. He's learning to use words, manipulation, persuasion. He's realizing there's responsibility behind every action. That's new territory for Maul.
I think like it kind of came down to is that like when he tried negotiating with Ahsoka in Star Wars: The Clone Wars, I think he did so with the assumption that everyone wants what he wants, which is power. And so I feel like that's the problem, is that's the language that the Sith speak. So I wonder if that's what Maul's going to have to learn here is, hey, not everyone is as power hungry as the Sith.
Marceline does ask, so will you review Maul with Will and Crystal like the previous Star Wars shows on live streams? Yes, that is certainly the plan as of right now. He also goes on to say, talking about his stance on the Jedi, he was trained to hate and destroy the Jedi without ever questioning it, Witwer says. Now he's looking at the galaxy going, boy, we sure could use a Jedi Knight or two. At least when the Jedi, you knew where they stood. There's something to respect there. This empire, he sees no values there, just a naked grab of influence, power, and money. Principles are gone, and he looks at that with a certain level of distaste. He may not have agreed with the Jedi Knights, but at least they had principles. You knew who you were dealing with, and you could reason with that. There's no reasoning with the Empire. Yeah, you're right, bro. I mean, his stance is fully committed at one point in time, but now he's certainly like, wait a minute now. These guys really have nothing worth of value here. So yeah, Maul certainly seems to hold himself to a higher standard than where he sees the Empire at as of right now. Like just completely trained and brought up differently, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll let you guys look at more of the oh, there's a mandate, Dave Filoni's mandate for Maul, Shadow Lord, and Sam Witwer's unique creative control. Okay. So they've recognized that Witwer has more to offer in the new show beyond his voice acting. Yeah, Sam Witwer's been not only such a, I mean, you could probably watch a lot of videos of Sam Witwer just talking Star Wars. I mean, I do love hearing him sort of pick his brain about Star Wars in general, but considering the fact that he's voiced this character for 15 years, if there's anybody like under the wing, if you will, of Dave Filoni, that he's just absorbing Star Wars information, it's Sam Witwer. But it says in the new interview, he explained that he and other creatives developed a subplot that was originally not in the show. We built this subplot that wasn't in the scripts, and what came out is one of my favorite things we've ever done with the character. It's strange, emotional, and absolutely Star Wars. We've tried things you wouldn't imagine, like me shooting reference footage for complex emotional scenes so the animators see how my eyes and expressions worked. Interesting. Series creator gave one mandate. He says Dave Filoni gave us the mandate to do everything better. Do everything better. Acting, scripts, story, cinematography, sound. He told us to push everything further. We all wanted to make the best thing we've ever done. First off, let me just say this. The fact that Dave Filoni now is coming into creative power over at Lucasfilm, I love this direction from him. This is really ambitious of him. I think he recognizes first off, he probably recognizes the idea of like, we've used this character countless times. We've used this animation countless times. Like, if we really want to grab audiences that have continue to love this stuff, but people that might be maybe getting tired of this stuff, we really have got to continue to push forward. So to me, the fact that Dave Filoni had this mandate to be better at absolutely everything gives me some level of confidence, where I was maybe a little bit weary in regards to how is he going to run Lucasfilm. Now, this isn't like a complete full stamp of approval yet from Dave Filoni. I still got to see where his head is at, what he greenlights in the future, his mentality, like who he wants to bring on board, sort of thing. But this is really, like, for me, inspiring in the sense of he clearly knows he's got to push the envelope in some area. And definitely on the animation side, that tends to be his plan. I just hope he continues to take that mentality towards the live action stuff and his job that he's been placed in, kind of going forward. But I do love to hear that from Sam Witwer's Dave Filoni's mandate.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad to hear that he's getting more creative control when it comes to the Star Wars projects that he's working on, because I still remember like an interview with him where he had to kind of explain to Ron Howard, Darth Maul, where he was at in this particular timeline of the Star Wars movies when they shot that scene for him in Solo. Because I guess Ron Howard, obviously didn't know anything about expanded universe stuff. So originally in the script, he was supposed to be holding the lightsaber that he had in Phantom Menace. And Sam Witwer was one to go, no, that actually makes no sense. And he's like, we got two options. I can either hold the double saber that I killed off of an Inquisitor in Star Wars Rebels, which would mean that this happened at this timeline, or I could have the dark saber, which would mean that I hadn't lost it yet during this timeline. And so he had to explain why these were the two options, basically, and like what it would mean for the future impact of Star Wars if that was the one that they, whichever one they went with. So I thought that whole story was absolutely hilarious. So I would love to see him, having a more creative control, because this guy, I disagree with him on The Last Jedi. I'm gonna point that out. So I do disagree with him on some aspects, but at the same time, this guy loves Star Wars.
Yeah, he does.
And I think that I would love to see like what he could do with the franchise if he had a little more creative control going forward. I am curious how he is as a writer, because I don't know if he's ever written anything, but if he has, I'd definitely be down to check it out.
Yeah,
so yeah,
I haven't seen his take on The Last Jedi, but I think he's one of those people that, because he loves Star Wars so much, that how he comes about it feels a little bit different than other people that have issues with The Last Jedi, if that makes sense,
Oh yeah, it definitely didn't come from like kind of that annoying, griftier point of view at all. It was like his points made sense. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I definitely see where he was coming from when he talked about it. I just, the part that I kind of disagree with is like when it comes to Luke as a character, only because I think even the best, I'm a guy, and maybe it's because I have just this really dark outlook on life. I'm a guy who thinks that anyone can fall from grace at any point, from something, no matter how like good of a person that you are. So for me, like, whereas him, he just didn't think this was, I think like his like whole point was like, he didn't think that Luke would have ever, especially everyone uses the example from Return of the Jedi, which I totally get, of Luke like refusing to give into anger. So I think that was like the idea, is that he just didn't think that Luke would ever give into fear like that, and that's like a lot of people's problem with The Last Jedi, which I totally get. I disagree with, because I think that no matter how great we are, how much we've accomplished, we're all still capable of falling at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I do like him in this role. I do like his place over at Lucasfilm. I'm glad that they're aware of, like, he is extremely knowledgeable, and he definitely takes his role as Darth Maul very seriously, in regards to like whenever he plays this character, he wants to come to it in the perspective of respecting the character and respecting the fans that also love the character as well. So always, I think if there's anybody in Lucasfilm or that's been attached to Star Wars that has always nailed doing their job well, it's Sam Witwer. So I'll never be opposed to Sam Witwer being involved in Star Wars in any capacity. So I'm looking forward to this show, guys. I'm looking forward to reviewing it with you all. Darth Maul has had one of the more compelling character arcs ever since the prequel series. How much he's popped up, how like really in depth that they've kind of gone with this character and still managed to find new ways to kind of tell stories for him. It's been rather impressive to see Maul's journey. I may have to do a rewatch, Stuart. I may have to I did one with the girlfriend a few years back, because she was like, whatever happened to Darth Maul? And I'm like, let's go, baby. And we went to like a whole timeline of episodes and stuff, but it may be worth revisiting. So we'll see.
Before getting to season 7, where they end his storyline, Marcelino brought it up in the comments. Oh yeah, here it is. Did you? Oh right, I forgot. I can't bring up comments, but he wrote, "Did you ever see the canon 4-issue comic series, Sons of Dathomir?" That's the one where it takes place during the Clone Wars. They were apparently, which I do remember hearing about that. They were meant to be brand new episodes, but that was of course before Disney shortened the show to 6 seasons. But yeah, they have brought that story to life through a comic book. So if anyone is curious where or how Maul escaped, or sorry, how he got captured and then escaped. Yeah. So if anyone was curious how he gets captured and then escapes the Empire, I believe that's what the comic covers.
Marcelo says, what do you think of Sam Witwer playing Agent Liberty from Supergirl season 4? I liked him.
Yeah.
I believe I remember liking him in season 4.
He was one of my favorite villains on the show.
Yeah, he was really good. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to Sam Witwer giving us new details in regards to the upcoming Maul Shadow Lord. Again, dropping April 6th, I believe it said. April 4th. I can't remember now. But yeah, we'll definitely keep you guys posted. But yeah, also, we will be doing live reviews for you guys. Haven't picked the date yet in regards to when we're going to be dropping these reviews, but definitely subscribe to the channel if you'd like your reviews for Maul Shadow Lord. And with that out of the way, let's move on to our next topic here. As boy, Stuart, this is giving me a headache, bro. I'm not gonna lie. This Warner Brothers bidding war has given me a headache. It's turned into a crazy love triangle between these three studios. Warner Brothers first allowing Netflix to have the winning bid several months ago, saying final bid, everybody put your final bid in, and Netflix was the winner. But I guess when it comes to final bids in Hollywood, that don't mean shit to people, Stuart, because Paramount, very active in trying to do a hostile takeover, continuously bombarding Warner Brothers and their shareholders with more and more offers until eventually the dam collapsed, Stuart. And we do have a new owner for Warner Brothers, as Warner Brothers has now taken the offer bid from Paramount. So farewell, Netflix. You were fun while it lasted, like a side chick while you had your eyes set on somebody else this whole entire time. Paramount is making away as bandits. So as of right now, Warner Brothers has now been purchased by Paramount, as Warner Brothers has accepted Paramount's offer. If that confuses you, it probably should. It confuses me in regards to how this even works out. Like, how long do people have to put bids in? Like, how do you, like, I mean, this should have been closed forever ago, but I guess it's not official until like it goes through. Now, it is important to say here, this process of Paramount purchasing Warner Brothers could take anywhere between 6 to 12 months, could take maybe a little bit longer if it's even approved. But Netflix got a hold of what was going on, and they did go ahead and drop a press release here saying that they are declining to raise an offer. So Warner Brothers said, hey, we're going to go with Paramount now, but Netflix, if you really want us, maybe you should drop a little bit more money, give us another offer. And Netflix is like, no, we're good. We're good. We're not going to be playing this game anymore. It says Netflix today announced that it has declined to raise its offer for Warner Brothers. Netflix had earlier received notice from WBD, and its board of directors has determined Paramount Skydance's latest proposal constitutes a superior proposal under the terms of WB's existing merger agreement with Netflix. Netflix issued the following statement in response from Ted Sarandos. The transaction we negotiated would have created shareholder value with a clear path to regulatory approval. However, we've always been disciplined, and at the price required to match Paramount's latest offer, the deal is no longer financially attractive, so we're declining to match the Paramount Skydance bid. So there you go. The Netflix deal is gone. It is also worth saying that I believe Ted Sarandos, CEO of Netflix, had a meeting with the president of the United States over the weekend, or earlier in the week, before this news actually wind up dropping. So I am kind of curious as to if there's anything that went on behind the scenes to make this deal fall through and the Paramount deal get pushed through. But we'll see if this even happens, Stuart, at this point, right? I mean, one of the biggest arguments that Warner Brothers had was, hey, this or that Paramount had was, hey, the Netflix deal and Warner Brothers is not going to get approved. It's not going to get regulatory approval. But when you look at Paramount and Warner Brothers, I mean, that just screams mega monopoly at this point. Probably more so than Netflix. Like, Netflix always felt very adjacent to me in regards to what Warner Brothers does, because Netflix isn't necessarily like a movie studio per se. It's more of a streaming service that does produce movies, but they don't really release movies in theaters that often, sort of thing. So like what Warner Brothers does on an everyday basis just feels significantly different than that of Netflix. So I when Netflix says it probably would have been approved through regulatory approval, I tend to believe that. But the if it was under any other administration, I don't know if this Paramount or Warner Brothers deal would go through, because it feels more like a monopoly now. But there's a part of me that thinks that maybe some strings will be pulled to get this approved, but who knows? What are you thinking about this whole craziness that is this bidding war now?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, no, this is really, really bad. Because yeah, it would have been bad if it got bought by Netflix. Don't get me wrong, that was also going to suck as well. But now with it being bought by Paramount specifically, my biggest fear is with David Ellison, behind Paramount, and being not only a huge Trump supporter, but someone who has gone out of their way to essentially scare people or fire people, in some cases, who speak out against Trump. Very few people are untouchable at Paramount. Like, I think the crew at the Daily Show are currently like one of the few, and then of course South Park. But even Steve Colbert isn't safe from them, because they ended up canceling his show. And then of course there was that whole incident with 60 Minutes. I think 60 Minutes is Paramount, right? Someone in the comments correct me if I'm wrong. But like, yeah. Anyways, there's other examples, but yeah, what it comes down to is that I think this is going to have a really terrifying impact when it comes to kind of freedom of speech, when it comes to the overall news. So I'm not even getting into the movie part of things yet of why this is going to suck. But like when it comes to free speech and news, I feel like the news is going to show any news that's basically owned by Paramount is going to show a huge bias now, leaning more towards Trump and all that. So we have that to look forward to. And then we also have the fact that I think that movies going forward are going to feel a lot more like propaganda, a lot more like Trump propaganda. And I'll get a little more into that with one of the other articles that we're going to be talking about soon, like movies that I think are going to be probably caught in the crosshairs of this whole thing. But like, yeah, it's just so basically I can see so like basically I don't see shows like Last Week Tonight. I think like shows like that are likely, like, it may still stand for a little bit, for a few years, because it's going to take a while for the merger to go all the way through. But as soon as like contracts end, I feel like a lot of really good late night shows are going to get canceled as well if they don't like lean with the views that Trump values. And yeah, just I think that's like the biggest thing I'm worried about, is that it's now Paramount, now like not just Paramount, but Warner Brothers as well is going to start feeling like Trump propaganda going forward. Characters like Superman are going to feel more like Homelander, but without the self-awareness, Yeah, I think this is bad, for the film industry. This is bad for the political climate of things. This is bad for a lot of other reasons. I wish I could remember the YouTuber, but there was a interview with the YouTuber with Elizabeth Warren, and she talks a lot more in detail about like the economical issues that this is going to have with the industry, not just the industry, but just the economy as well. So I definitely recommend checking out that interview. But yeah, this was the worst case scenario. And that sucks, because this was a scenario where the best case scenario also really sucks. So yeah, this is a no-win scenario, and we ended up in the worst part of it.
Maybe while they both look like the worst case scenario, maybe if this deal doesn't go through, it'll end up being the best case scenario, because I think both of us did not want Warner Brothers to even sell in the first place. I mean, they've had an amazing like past couple of years. This past year was financially great for them, especially when it comes to movies. So for them to kind of pack their bags and just sell things off just didn't make a lick of sense to me. So it would be interesting if like we went through all of this for like an entire year and a half, only for the conclusion to be, yeah, none of this is ever going to happen, and then Warner Brothers just sit back and continues to collect money. right? Of like failed bids. I think there's things in the contract, like if it's a failed bid and it doesn't go through, like they have to pay the company or something like that, some like reimbursement for their time or whatever the case may be, like a couple $1 billion. So it could be the case that in a year or so this doesn't happen and Warner Brothers still finds a way to make money out of this. But it is important because you did bring up the idea of like David Ellison and Larry Ellison, all the things that they would own. Wired and comicbook.com did have this article out here, all the things that they would own under this deal. So they have already got CBS and CBS News. So you got things like not only CBS News, but like 60 Minutes, Survivor, Big Brother, things like that. They would also own HBO and HBO Max, also CNN, which I think is already run by somebody that's kind of already like right leaning in regards to it. But now that you bring in, like, if they were to control CNN, maybe the same person that's running CBS will now control CNN, and it's been a debacle over there for CBS. They would also own the Harry Potter franchise, DC Comics, yeah, the stored control of storied comic book franchises, TikTok, which is even more frightening, honestly. I mean, that's like three big, I know people are like TikTok as a source of news, but trust me, I mean, a younger generation utilizes TikTok. Who knows what's going to happen with these algorithms now over at TikTok. Star Trek, right? Stuart, your concern of, is something like Starfleet Academy going to get a season 3? It's a little maybe too woke for the Ellisons, right? Like maybe they want to course correct what Star Trek certainly is. So they're going to get Star Trek. They got Warner Brothers Studios, Comedy Central, Avatar Studios. I mean, the list goes on in regards to like big franchise names. Showtime, franchise Star Trek, Gremlins, Beetlejuice, Harry Potter, Transformers, A Quiet Place, Looney Tunes, The Conjuring, Mortal Kombat, Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, they talk about the idea that they want to be able to still drop like 30 movies a year. It just feels like a lot of franchises are either going to get left behind, or there's just not going to be enough time to do movies for all these franchises that they certainly want to, or they cancel a lot of the progress that things have certainly made. Like, even though they say that they're not going to change things like DC Studios management, right? So they claim like Peter Safran and James Gunn are going to go ahead and stay in their positions. I don't know if I necessarily trust that. I personally can't deal with like another DC Studios takeover and like revamping. Like, please God, no. Like if that legit were to happen, I'm not gonna watch another DC movie ever. Like, I'm just tired. I'm tired, Stuart. The fact that DC can't continue to get off the ground. So do stop the train that is the DCU. I'm gonna be devastated in that regards. But it's just the idea of having so much power, so much influence, having certain ideologies kind of like shoved down your throat, limiting the type of creativity that you have. You're going to have duplicate jobs now, right? So people are going to get fired from these jobs because they already have positions that are filled over at Paramount, or already at, like, you're not going to have these rehashed jobs. So a lot of people are going to lose their jobs over this. It's just this feels much more devastating than Netflix purchase. Like, honestly, like my biggest issue with Netflix was the idea of like staying true to the movie release schedule in regards to 45 days or 90 days and things like that. But this completely changes the game in regards to single-handedly giving somebody so much power and influence over what people watch and what people digest, and certain ideologies and a mindset kind of going forward that I think is really dangerous to freedom of speech and freedom of creativity for some people. When you have connections to the White House and that administration that can threaten or intimidate or just use money to kind of get their way. Again, we'll probably talk a little bit about that in our next segment of what Paramount is kind of turning itself into. It's a little bit worrisome. But yeah, that's the biggest news right now. Warner Brothers has been sold now to Paramount as Netflix winds up retracting their deal. So it's a lot of power in one particular place. We'll see if this manages to kind of get any level of approval or not. But yeah, we'll see where this goes, man.
Yep.
Billy, what's up, Billy? Appreciate you coming through. Says this news of Paramount buying Warner Brothers. OMG. OMG is right. Peg C says he thinks Paramount is going to gut HBO Max. Well, who knows? But maybe they call it Paramount Max. Maybe that's the new name of their streaming service. No, no, HBO
and
Mount.
Once Disney buys them, it'll be Disney Mount Plus or something, or sorry, Disney Mount Max.
Disney Mount Max. Yep. Give us your new streaming service names in the comment section box below, y'all. But speaking of the direction in which Paramount could potentially go, we do have ourselves an interesting new article, as it seems as though Paramount's next job to revive G.I. Joe. That's right. Hey, you guys remember when Rise of the Beast kind of teased about the idea that, y'all, Transformers and G.I. Joe, next movie crossover, baby? No, not happening anymore. Not happening anymore. At least that definitely doesn't feel like it. New management is like, we've got other plans. And it looks as though they're going to revive the G.I. Joe movie franchise. So it seems as though maybe that long-awaited crossover is done and moved on with. But it's not so much the idea, Stuart, that G.I. Joe is returning. I think what's really getting a lot of people's ears perked up is the questionable tactics towards bringing this in, whether it's how they're having the script being written, or surprisingly, who they have to write this script. Let's go ahead and bring this up. This comes to us from, what article is this from? I believe this is Hollywood Reporter. Yes, Hollywood Reporter has this article. Max Landis, who has been sort of kicked out of Hollywood for years now, whose career imploded during the Me Too movement, returns with G.I. Joe movie at Paramount Plus. Let's check out this article here. It says Paramount is taking an unusual move to figure out its key IP franchises, G.I. Joe. The Dave Ellison-owned studio has tapped Max Landis, the screenwriter canceled in the late 2010s during the height of the Me Too movement, to work on a treatment for a feature adaptation of the Hasbro toy brand. At the same time, it has also hired the Righteous Gemstone star and creator Danny McBride to work on a separate script for Joe. According to several sources, the studio will then try to blend the two scripts into one, but a studio source says that these are two separate projects. They need a new editor, because that's not how you spell the two that they meant to spell. Anyway, developing two scripts at the same time is somewhat rare, but not unheard of. It occurred in 2010s. Tarzan from Warner Brothers, the Mummy reboot in the mid 2010s had writers working on two versions before their elements were merged on one script, raced ahead. While not employing this method exactly, Paramount previously put its Transformers and Star Trek franchise on multiple tracks, with several scripts developing. What is more eye-raising is the hiring of Landis, the son of John Landis, one of Hollywood's top directors in the 80s. The younger Landis made a name for himself with the screenwriting. He was also known for selling spec scripts for millions and found early success with the movie Chronicle. He also wrote the Bright film with Joel Edgerton and Will Smith. I actually enjoyed that movie. He also had a keen perspective on superheroes, with the take of Superman he wrote and directed taking off as a viral YouTube video. But then numerous women stepped forward to speak about Landis's alleged behavior, accusing him of sexual and emotional abuse. Reached a peak in 2019 with the expose by the Daily Beast. He was dropped by his representatives and saw projects he was developing wither and die. Now, no charges were ever filed against Landis, but he did have several allegations in regards about him, for sure. So yeah, ever since then, Landis has been gone. But lo and behold, Stuart, the um the studio of second chances to alleged sexual abusers and toxic men, of giving Max Landis a second opportunity here. This truly blows my mind. Well, two things I would like to address here. The Max Landis side of things. Like, why is this guy even getting another opportunity right now? And to be fair, before everything that happened with Max Landis, I actually really enjoyed some of his work, before we come to find out just who he is, certainly more as a person. This isn't the only person that's been alleged of sexual abuse and sexual misconduct that Paramount has brought on board. If you recall, Stuart, the president of the United States was like, I want to Rush Hour 4. And not only do I want to Rush Hour 4, I want Brett Ratner to direct it. And Paramount's like, Brett Ratner back to direct Rush Hour 4 sort of thing, right? Paramount Pictures is becoming the home of second chance opportunities for alleged sexual abusers and sexual misconductors and toxic masculinity. Like, that's exactly what Paramount Pictures seemingly is turning itself into. Like, forget the allegations, forget the worries that, female writers or crew members have to deal with on set or in the studios with these men around sort of thing. This is what we want to build our studios and our franchises on. Zachary Levi, you're probably up next. Like, come on, we'll find a movie for you, buddy. We'll get your career back on track. Gina Carano, you need another job. Come on, Paramount Pictures will probably take you in also. I mean, the list goes on and on in regards to what's happening here. But regardless, outside of the Max Landis stuff, the idea of like multiple scripts is like the dumbest thing that I've ever heard them do. Like, I mean, the fact that Hollywood Reporters, two examples are The Mummy. Like The Mummy, and what was the other one, Stuart?
The other one was the 2000 Tarzan. Both
Tarzan movie. Yeah, great examples of why this is a fantastic idea, guys. To have two different people writing a script and somehow like, let's just combine them together. Like, it literally makes no sense to me. And now the article does go on to say that, look, the idea of having multiple scripts in development at the same time is normal. Like, we've seen that before. But the idea of taking two things that work and then trying to blend them, why don't you just take one thing that works and make that the movie? Like, why are we forcing things to work? Like, this just feels very much like, it almost feels like Danny McBride might have actually been hired for this G.I. Joe job, but then they're like, we really want to give Max Landis an opportunity and a chance, so let's have him write the script. And if we like what he writes, then we'll put it together, and then we could somehow give Max Landis also dual writing credits and get his foot back in the door for Hollywood. Like, this feels like a layup for Paramount to Max Landis to get his career back on track, is what it feels more like to me than an actual smart, like, creative decision of making a good G.I. Joe movie. Like, out of the gate, this is not the G.I. Joe movie. I already know this is not the G.I. Joe movie that I certainly want. Just because I just have a feeling this is going to be a really bad idea. So we'll see how this turns out. But this just seems ridiculous to me, Stuart.
I love Marcelino's concept, and then James Franco will be rehired. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you in terms of like how terrible like all these decisions are. I mean, like the big thing is that when you rehire someone like Max Landis, you're sending a message basically, and that message is, hey, you don't worry about, making other people uncomfortable. You could be yourself around them. You can be as toxic as you want to. Oh, and if a woman says
women's
no,
allegations,
it just means you got to be more persistent. If they say no, that's all it means. That's the fucking message that Paramount is sending the world right now. Hey, it's okay to abuse women again. So yeah, no, I think rehiring him is a bad idea for many reasons. And so like, when you first sent me this article, so I didn't know who this guy was. So I Googled him because I'm like, oh, okay, rehiring someone that may have been, because I will say, they don't happen as often as Trump supporters want to pretend they do. But yes, false allegations do happen. So there was a brief moment when I saw this article and I'm like, oh, is this one of those cases? So I Googled it. And then I saw it was over 8 women, and I'm like, probably not then. Whether, because yes, I mean, I will not say under oath that this guy is guilty because I don't know for sure. I do not know 100% for sure. But man, I will say that I do. If you ask me to take the word of 8 different women who have nothing to gain from this over one person, yes, I'm going to side with the 8 women who have nothing to gain from this. So yeah, like I think yeah, again, unless there was like god damn, I don't know, like to me, I think just like, yeah, rehiring again, what it comes down to is this just sends a message that you know, we don't care about making people feel safe. Essentially, we don't care about making people you know, or about, we don't care about a healthy work environment. Essentially, that's the message that they're saying. It's like, okay, we want these kind of people to work for us. Going to the script side of things, now that I've established how much it pisses me off, you know, in terms of the message that they're sending here. Script side thing, I agree with you. That is really dumb. You know, I think what happens is like, I'm going to just assume the CEOs of Paramounts don't know the process when it comes to writing a movie. They only see things that go into it in a surface level, but they don't know about what it comes to character arcs, when it comes to themes, when it comes to stories. I don't think they'd be able to define any of that. And so because of that, I think in their minds what they see is, oh, if we take 2 cool things and put them together, we get an ultimate cool things. They look at merging scripts in the same way as you know, Dragon Ball Z looks at the Patara earrings. Essentially, you get the best of both worlds, and it's like, that's not how writing a script works at all. And you know, the examples that you've given kind of prove that doesn't work in that favor. Even the Transformers movies, because I think the 3rd movie is the only exception, but most of the Transformers movies have done this, where it's like always been multiple scripts merged together, and they've never worked. You know, doing this kind of a process in film and screenwriting, that just doesn't work. So the only thing I could think of, you know, kind of like what you said earlier, is that they're trying to get his name out there so they can uncancel him. So the only way this could kind of work is if they go with Danny McBride's script and then they take maybe a thing or two from his script. Like they're like, oh, well, in this script, he had this idea for a background, so we're gonna go ahead and change that one thing so we can technically give him credit for this movie. That's the only thing I can think of that would make like at least a coherent script. But yeah, I think the idea of like merging 2 scripts and hoping for a successful project is really, really dumb. Makes absolutely no sense. You know, I think that if anything, what you would want to do, and I don't know if movies have done this before, but maybe just like let people know we're looking for a G.I. Joe script. Basically, like, and then just, you know, see where you go from there, see who gives you the best script for a G.I. Joe movie, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, I think that like everything about this, and it sucks too, because I was actually like kind of excited to see the G.I. Joe return in the Transformers crossover.
Yeah, me too,
Yeah.
man.
Because like I had heard that they had Chris Hemsworth on board, and I assumed he was going to be playing Duke.
Oh yeah,
which
that's
would have been,
right.
pretty
Yeah.
cool to see.
Man, missed opportunities. It's one of those things now where it's just like, this is the decisions that Paramount is making with their movies, and now they're picking up Warner Brothers. Like, I'm supposed to trust them to make great Warner Brother movies too. Like, come on, like let's just see what you guys can do as Paramount first in regards to your movie quality before I can get excited for what you're gonna do with anything else here. Tony Robinson says G.I. Joe is like an upcoming actress that still hasn't popped and gets overshadowed by supporting actors. Yeah, Marcelino says G.I. Joe is a dead franchise. Paramount's just trying to go back to 80s big, strong men in action. Yeah, definitely. It kind of feels like Amazon's doing a little bit of the same in regards to tapping into that male like 80s mentality a little bit. I don't know if they're as overt as maybe Paramount about it is, though. Like, I think Amazon MGM at least has the idea of making good quality scripts and stuff for what they dish out. But you know, that 80s millennial big strong man action type of thing. Feels like a lot of studios are trying to tap into that as of right now.
I definitely felt, I think it was produced by Amazon, but I definitely felt that with Mercy, where it felt like something that was written by a guy who watched the Star Trek Deep Space Nine episode where they went back in time, saw the way that
The
they
Chris
were.
Pratt movie?
Yeah.
Oh,
It was like they saw that episode of Deep Space Nine where they went back in time, saw all the different kind of camps, districts that they kept all the people in poverty in, saw that episode and thought, oh, that's a great idea. Completely missing the message and missing the fact that no, that's not good. Okay, yes, Mercy was done by Amazon. So yeah, I think Mercy is definitely kind of an example of that, like where it's like, I don't know, like that was such a bad movie because like not only was the message just like so I don't know, it's one of those rare movies where like I'll give it credit, like I thought the action was really fun, but like the message was just so like fascist like coded, and I don't even mean like in a subtle like kind of way, like it was like one of the most fascist kind of movies I've seen where I'm like, this makes me uncomfortable. It's weird. Like I've never had that kind of like thing in a movie, because usually if I do, it's like usually it's the point that you're watching something fascist and you're supposed to dislike it, but this is one of those things where it felt pro-fascism.
Yeah, man. I definitely I hadn't seen it yet. I had seen the trailers and I just did not find them appealing whatsoever. I was just like, yeah, no, this is I don't think this movie's for me. So I didn't have the opportunity to check it out, but maybe one day. We'll see. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts. Paramount is developing a new G.I. Joe movie. They've got 2 script writers working on separate films that they plan on eventually trying to merge together into one movie. And one questionable decision of Max Landis is set to write one of those scripts. How do you guys personally feel about that? Let me know your guys' thoughts in the live chat down below. And then next up, speaking of directors and creative choices, we do have some news in regards to Resident Evil, as Zach Cregger is in the news here this week. I believe the Resident Evil film is currently still filming. I don't know if it's wrap production as of yet or not. But for those of you who are unfamiliar with Zach Cregger, you probably know him from the Barbarian movie. He created that film, and recently Weapons, which was a big winner over at the box office and in the eyes of fans in 2025. And his next project, Resident Evil, right on time with Resident Evil Requiem dropping for video games, and now they're looking to bring that same type of action and love to the big screen. But Stuart, this may not be your daddy's Resident Evil, as it seems as though the studio has given him immense creative freedom in regards to what he wants to do with this franchise. And let's see exactly what that looks like. This comes to us from IGN. Let me pull this up here for you guys. Weapons director Zach Cregger given carte blanche to do whatever with Resident Evil, creating a movie not expected to feature any familiar story or characters. It says it's not expected to feature any familiar characters or adapt any specific Resident Evil movie, a departure from the series' previous big screen adaptations that have featured famous faces. It says now Resident Evil is being rebooted again with Cregger on board and given the green light to go in a very different direction. It says with Resident Evil, we've had an incredible journey with one of the most successful international IPs of more than $1 billion in the box office over the years. Now we're creating something new, not just a new story idea, but to allow a new generation to take the IP into their own hands and form something different. Discussing the project's current editing process in more detail, they said the movie was notable for being far away from everything that is connected to Resident Evil, only because Zach Cregger has his own style. Now, speaking about the project last year, Cregger himself said his movie would be obedient to the lore of the games, but also a different story from anything from the franchise. I'm not going to tell you Leon's story because Leon's story is told in the games. Fans already have that. So he says he's going to be obedient to the lore of the games, but that's really, I think, the only comments from Krieger himself. But according to those working behind the scenes, it's far away from anything that's connected to Resident Evil, only because Krieger has his own style. Uh, Stuart, let me start off with you. I think we've both been really impressed with what Zach Krieger has been able to do with his films, whether that be Barbarian or even Weapons. I think a lot of us, when it was announced he was going to be doing this Resident Evil movie, our ears perked up like, ooh, yes, this sounds extremely promising. Does this worry you at all, or is it very much in Zach Krieger I trust?
Zach Krieger, I trust. Okay, this was I think that was what excited me the most about the Resident Evil movie that he's going to be making. Because yeah, we don't need to tell these stories; they've already been told in the form of a video game, and you know, there is a way you could write a lot of these video games. I do think you could adapt Resident Evil 1 and 2, and even 4, maybe 3 too. I don't know, but I think you could adapt a lot of these games into movies if you wanted to, but you wouldn't really bring too much new to it. It would be really hard to be able to convince people why they should see this when you already have the video game. So I think that this is the much smarter route to go, because the Resident Evil world has so much mythology, so much lore behind it, that I feel like there are plenty of stories that you can tell that don't revolve around Leon, Chris, or Claire, that or Jill Valentine. Like you can totally tell a story with original characters that just happen to take place in this world. And I think if anyone can bring that kind of a story to life, it's Zach Krieger. The world of Resident Evil is filled with horror, but it is also very, very campy, and it does not take itself too seriously, you know, a lot of the times, especially when it comes to its villains. It knows how to have a lot of fun when it comes to its like over-the-top villains. And Zach Cregger, from everything that I've seen him do so far, and by everything, I mean, I've seen like 3 movies that he's done. But you know, with and only 2 of those were actually horror movies, but with those 2 movies that he's done, let me phrase it that way. I feel like he definitely has what it takes to make like a good, very faithful adaptation of a Resident Evil movie, or a great story within the world of Resident Evil. I really hope he uses his style of like somewhat unlinear storytelling, like where we're kind of thrown off on who the main character even is some of the times. Like I hope like he continues that, because I thought that works so well in both Weapons and Barbarian. So I can't wait to see how he utilizes that with this movie. And then yeah, if it's a success, if this guy does a good job with it, I do think that there is a chance we could see him you know, coming back for a future DC project in the future, because he has expressed interest in wanting to write for James Gunn at some point. So I would definitely love to see how this movie does overall. Everything I've heard so far gets me extremely excited.
You know, it's funny you brought up Zach Krieger and wanting to do a DC film. Do you remember the story that he approached Paramount originally to do that story? I don't even know if he went to James Gunn immediately. I think his first was to Dave Ellison or something like that, or Larry Ellison.
Oh, really? Okay. But regardless, yeah, I remember the story was kind of interesting, where it was like based on an episode of Batman the Animated Series, where someone just accidentally kills the Batman and then suddenly like is in way over their head.
You know, I am kind of curious, going back to the Resident Evil aspect of things, you know, with this set to be sort of like his own unique story that's told. You know, we did have something similar to that in regards to the world of Resident Evil that did not work out so well, and that was the Resident Evil television series. You recall that, Stuart? Idea. What do you think the difference would be?
That this one would actually stay to its word of being accurate to the Resident Evil lore, hopefully. Because I don't know, the TV show had a bunch of like it was pretending to be part of the video game lore, but it also ignored quite a few aspects of the video game lore as well. That I just thought, and plus it also made some weird changes to some of the backstories that just didn't make a lot of sense to me. Making, I don't know, like what the whole point was of making Wesker like a series of clones. That was just a weird, like it added nothing, and it just kind of again made no sense from everything that we had known about Wesker in the past. So yeah, I don't think Netflix's series was as true to its word of sticking in the lore as Zach Cregger will be.
Yeah, I mean, he is talking about being obedient to the lore of the game, so I think he understands like what Resident Evil is certainly meant to be. You know, there are key things like Umbrella that I hope gets mentioned. I don't necessarily know if the movie needs to take place in Raccoon City, but it would be interesting. I'm trying to remember some of the set photo pieces that we had. If it did mention Raccoon City in the set photos that we wind up dropping. I can't remember if that's the case, but you know, I think those two things of Raccoon City and just Umbrella in general, I think would be important to hold on to in some way, shape, or form. But you know, I based off of just the rise that Zach Cregger has had in movies from Barbarian to Weapons, he is a unique presence in just the creative world of filmmaking right now. And so if I were to tap anybody that kind of have that creative freedom for his type of storytelling that he tends to do, utilizing new characters but also staying true to the lore, I think he could do something really fun with this one, man. One that I think would pique the interest of a lot of people. You know, we've seen certain shows and movies kind of take departures from doing the same old, same old. I think Marcelino points out things like Fallout, you know, kind of playing in that world, but creatively having freedom to tell the story that you want with new characters and stuff. I think Zach Cregger might tap into a little bit of something like that too in regards to Resident Evil. Like if you can keep the tone of what a Resident Evil movie is going to be, if you can keep like the character perspective, that's kind of solo mission through a town or city or whatever the case may be, and coming up, you know, bumping into questionable characters and stuff that add a lot of intrigue and mystery, and like you said, a lot of misdirect. I think it could be a really fun movie that kind of taps into really how you feel when you're playing the video games. And I think Zach Cregger could probably do a really good job. It's not every day that I'm open to the idea of people having this much creative freedom, especially, you know, I think the article makes a good point in the sense of like, you know, we've had a ton of Resident Evil movies before already that have kind of stayed true to the game. So the idea of being able to do something significantly different with somebody as hot as Zach Cregger, who has a really unique way of storytelling, I think his storytelling would kind of work really perfectly well with a Resident Evil film if done well. And we know Zach Cregger does do these type of movies really well. So it kind of sounds a little alarming at first, but I do think because of who he is, I think this probably works really well for Zach Cregger. And I think it shows the trust that they have in him as a filmmaker to be like, yeah, do whatever you want, because we haven't been very successful with Resident Evil. So at this point, we need you to inject some life into this franchise, you know?
Yeah. I remember their last attempt, not the show, but the movie Welcome to Raccoon City. Because like, I think that what they were trying to do was kind of creative, where they were trying to merge the first game and the second game, having them take place at the same time. And that could have worked if it was written by someone like more creative. Because I think
was that released in theaters?
Yeah, it was released, but it was also during COVID, so it was like right when restrictions were being lifted. So it was released in theaters like for like maybe I want to say 2 weeks. I didn't even see a trailer for this movie. I only knew we had it because I was working at the theater. I honestly, if I wasn't working at the theater, I probably wouldn't have even known that movie came out in theaters.
Wow, that's crazy. Yeah, it says it had a $25 million budget, came out in 2021. Interesting. Okay. It had like a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes, 6 out of 10 on IGN. I almost completely forgot about that. Tony Robinson says that could create new characters that have connections to original characters. That's a possibility. Fun fact: the Resident Evil movies wanted to do crossover with the Underworld films, and the Underworld films wanted to do a crossover with Blade. Oh man, that would have been a crazy
Oh my god.
crossover.
You'd have to do like multiversal like kind of shit for that to make any sense.
To make it work. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But that would have been dope though. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to Zach Cregger really giving carte blanche, as they say, for Resident Evil. Do whatever you want, sir. And Zach Cregger, they trust apparently. But let us know your thoughts. Do you trust Zach Cregger to make a good Resident Evil movie? Certainly, let us know. I think if anything, I think what's gonna it'll be interesting to see how longtime fans of the franchise feel about him not tapping into past stories, past characters, and being able to do something fresh. Like that very first trailer, I think will be really interesting to kind of see Zach Cregger's filmmaking skills, his style, see how people view it, because I have a feeling that like as you're watching the trailer, you probably will have no sense that this is a Resident Evil movie, but you'll be like, oh, this looks really cool, and then the title will come up and you're like, Resident Evil, oh my god, I can't believe we're gonna get the like I that's the type of vibe that I think people I think we can expect from people for sure.
I think at the very least, though, it'll be like that for most like casual audiences, but I think there will be like kind of small things like for Resident Evil fans in the trailer that'll immediately go, "Wait, is this?"
Oh yeah, you might be right.
Like at some point, because like I swear it's like they basically rule the world like from the shadows. Like I think it'd be almost impossible to have a full trailer without at least seeing a little bit of the Umbrella logo at some point.
You might be right. You might be right. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in the live chat. And then last but not least, Stuart, we got I wanted to end on a nice little soft note here, as Sony Pictures is set to go ahead and develop, for those of you who don't know, an Astro Boy movie. I think it's been a few years. I think the last time it's had to have been at least 10 years since I remember anything like Astro Boy related kind of being announced. But it does seem as though a live action adaptation of the Astro Boy character is in early stages of development. Those are more current images. This is a little bit more classic Astro Boy design. But I don't remember when the recent animated film recently was released, but it seems as though Sony plans on trying to bring back Astro Boy. Let's dive into this. This comes to us from Comic Book Resources. I think what really appealed to me about this article was the idea, the creative team behind it. It says the mighty Atom, aka Astro Boy, may soon be rocketing back to theaters. A new report says that Sony Pictures is looking to Ghostbusters Afterlife director Jason Reitman and Ghostbusters Frozen Kingdom director Gil Keenan to develop a new live action Astro Boy movie. The report comes from Jeff Snyder, who states that Reitman, a 4-time Oscar nominee, is not attached to direct the film at the time, but may ultimately helm the feature. He is fresh off of his Saturday Night Live origin story, Saturday Night. He and Keenan are also developing a Ghostbusters animated movie and an animated series for Netflix. Now, Astro Boy is known in Japan as the Mighty Atom. The legendary cartoon is sometimes referred to as the godfather of manga. The original manga ran for 112 installments from 1952 to 1968. The story follows the title hero, an android built in the image of the young son of his creator after Tabio's death, after his son's death. In the Pinocchio-inspired tale, Tenma becomes unable to look up the facsimile of his own son, and so sells Adam to the circus. However, he is eventually taken in by a professor, another scientist, who treats Adam as a surrogate son. So yeah. I think it does say here there was a 2009 CG animated Astro Boy movie from Hong Kong Studios. The film received mixed results and performed poorly at the box office. That might have been the last Astro Boy movie that we've had. So I don't know. I don't know if I would be kind of curious if this is an IP that could work for present day. I feel like we had something similar recently, and I don't know. When I think of Astro Boy, I think of the Star Wars Visions episode. I think maybe it
Yeah,
was from season 1 or season 2,
that was definitely inspired by Astro Boy. I think it was
right? That's
season
what it felt
1, the
like.
episode that you're talking about.
Yeah, it felt very much like that. I kind of dug it, honestly. So I'm kind of curious. It's a very old IP and an old franchise, but I will say, I was personally, I was personally a really big fan of the two Ghostbuster movies that they recently did over at Sony Pictures. So like style of writing directing, I think could really work for an Astro Boy movie. So I do think they can make something that's bright, that's fun, really great character work also. So we'll see. But whether or not it could be successful, that I don't know. I think it's going to really come down to marketing, putting this character kind of back in the faces of the public, and dropping some really creative and fun looking trailers to kind of get people to come out, with this IP being so old. But I'm not opposed to it. I'm not opposed to Sony wanting to take a swing at this one. What about you, Stu?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch too much Astro Boy. There was like a brief period of time
Yeah, me
where
either.
it was weirdly like they were airing it on Adult Swim, and I mean like the original black and white Astro Boy was airing on Adult Swim. So I watched a little bit of that, but that's as far as my knowledge of Astro Boy kind of goes. I mean, I know what it's about, and I know that it's it was definitely like one of the pioneers of manga, essentially. I think that a lot of not just, I don't even want to just say like Japanese comics, but I want to say like comics all around, like have like some like owe something to Astro Boy in one way or another, whether directly or because something that Astro Boy also influenced their work later on down the line. I do think that Astro Boy definitely was kind of a pioneer in a lot of ways. So yeah, I think I don't know if this is a IP though that at least in the States is going to put a lot of people in seats. Like I could see this doing really well internationally. I just don't know how popular Astro Boy is though, with people in the United States. So I don't know how good that's, or how well that's going to perform in the box office. But I am intrigued because I do think that, again, like having not seen too much, I do think that the story is really interesting. Scientists, creates the first episode did intrigue me, and it was one of those things where it was presented in kind of a light, kid friendly way, but like kind of when you think about it, it was pretty dark and messed up, where a guy loses his son from an accident, creates him and rebuilds him as a robot, and then after like just a couple of years of raising him as a robot, realizes, oh, you're never going to get older. You're not really my son. Go away. And then just completely abandons him. So I think that it's kind of a deep story that you could tell with that. But it depends on if the studio is willing to go that deep with it, or if they try too hard to make it kid friendly. I am curious, like what direction that'll take in. But consider me intrigued for this.
Yeah, I am intrigued. I don't really recall reading any of the mangas or any of the other early animation and stuff. He was just big enough culturally where I was certainly aware of him. I don't think I saw the 2009 movie itself, but I do think it's an interesting premise, and I do think they have the right creative team to try and bring that story to life. I can be a little bit harsh on Sony Pictures in general, but they do make some live action films here and there that I do find rather enjoyable. Yeah, superhero movies though, a little bit mediocre for me personally. But as far as other live action adaptations, I might give this one a chance just because I'm a big fan of the creative team behind it. But we'll see. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts in regards to an Astro Boy movie in development, early development right now. It looks like, so we'll see if it gains any steam. But yeah, let us know your thoughts. But with that out of the way, Stuart, that will do it for all of our main topics here today. But I think you know what time it is.
I do indeed. And now, everybody, it is time for live viewer questions. Oh, you're muted.
That's weird. I didn't hit that button. I wonder why. Now we're going to go over to our live viewer question portion of the show. If you ever want to submit a live viewer question over, how can you do so? Well, let me show you. Just go over to our main YouTube channel. I think this is up. Is it up? Hold on a second. I gotta, 1 second. Sorry about that, y'all. I thought I had it. Maybe one day. Oh, that's not it either. I'm just not working properly today. Sorry, guys. Is this it? Yes, this is it. Thank God, Adam. You're doing something right today. Jeez Louise. All right. We've got live viewer questions. So every Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening, I will go ahead and drop a live viewer question post for you guys. Just go over to our post section right here. Click on that post tab and voila, live viewer question post for you guys. Dropped 14 hours ago. If you want to submit a question over, feel free to go ahead and do so before we finish up. I'll make sure to refresh before we get to the end there. All right. First up, AJ, the morphing grid. What's up, AJ? The true architect of Tommy Oliver's Master Morpher. Dun dun dun. The narrative inconsistencies of Super Mega Force, specifically the unexplained presence of the legendary Ranger keys and Tommy Oliver appearing in multiple forms during the legendary battle, were later retroactively repaired by the revelation in Dino Fury that the Green Morphing Master intervened in Ranger history. While this implies the Morphing Masters were created through the Morphing Grid and the signature of those keys, the 30th anniversary special once and always showcased Billy Cranston's immense technical genius as he managed to recreate the original Dino Megazord, 2 new Alpha 8 and 9 models, and proxy power coins for Rocky and Cat. This leads to a compelling debate regarding the device's origin. Was Tommy's Master Morpher a divine gift from a morphing master to stabilize his fractured power history, or was it mechanically masterpiece engineered by Billy Cranston? I don't know, Stuart. What do you think?
I want to say it was by Billy Cranston because I don't know, the Morphin Masters just being like,
here you go.
It's kind of boring. So I think it's more interesting, with Billy having, worked with, kind of the morphing grid technology for so long. And he knows this so well that he's now able to develop his own morphers. That's interesting. So that's going to be my headcanon, is that Billy designed it.
I like it. Peg C in the house. What's up, Peg? So I rewatched Hollywood Demons, the Power Ranger episode. Eric Frank's widow said she was hoping that Eric would be the White Ranger in Zeo. Also in the episode, it shows Eric in the White Ranger suit, which was from MMPR, and also it was indicated that he was going to be the White Ranger because he was sporting a white karate gi. What are your thoughts on this? Yeah, I believe he was originally supposed to be, but I think, I can't remember. Didn't they, was he supposed to be, and then they pulled the plug on the idea?
I don't think he ever was. I think
right?
I think it was always meant to be a red herring from what I
hear. Okay. Yeah, I can't remember the I was trying to I did watch that episode of Hollywood Demons, the Power Ranger episode, and I want to say I remember feeling like I think that's what he was disappointed about, was the fact that he was being utilized, he was really being pushed into this particular role, but it never became anything bigger. And I think there was kind of this expectation for there to be something bigger, and then this never happened for him. It's kind of sad stuff though, man. Really sad.
Mm-hmm.
So Paramount is going to absorb HBO Max and just kill it and put everything on Paramount Plus. Is that real? I hadn't heard that. I hadn't really heard what their plans are yet.
As far as that, Sorry. Just as far as I know, because from what I understand, you can't make any like public plans before a merger goes through. It was why there were never any like X-Men announcements for the longest time when Disney ended up acquiring Fox. Because I guess there's like legal things of not being allowed to plan ahead until it goes through. So even though I do think that'll happen, I don't think there's been an announcement about it quite yet.
Gotcha. Um, it says, so yeah, put everything on Paramount's Plus, and billions of jobs will be gutted. That I definitely believe. I don't know about billions, but maybe a couple 100,000 for sure. And there's word going around that before the deal is finalized with Warner Bros. And Paramount, that James Gunn and will go to David Zaslav and ask him to release him from his contract with WB. It's been documented that James Gunn doesn't, and Donald Trump doesn't like James Gunn. Or maybe he meant to say this document that James Gunn doesn't like Donald Trump and Donald Trump doesn't like James Gunn. What are your thoughts? Oh, well, I haven't really heard anything in regards to how James Gunn feels about whoever, or how Donald Trump feels about James Gunn. I personally have not heard anything in those regards. But look, I mean, we've talked about this before. Anytime that there is new change of management, people are going to want to bring in their people that they know to run some of these organizations. I mean, I have heard that they had no plans on removing Peter Safran or James Gunn from DC Studios. That doesn't necessarily mean that James Gunn won't depart himself from Warner Brothers. But again, I don't really know where his mindset is. Although, I did see in a recent interview that he talked about, somebody had asked him, I think it was with DC Talks, or so I can't remember, somebody on YouTube got an interview with James Gunn, and they were asking him, like, what are your plans for like the foreseeable future, right? Like, do you have it planned out for 5 years? Do you have it planned out for 10 years, where you want to take things? And he mentioned the ideas like, oh yeah, no, we definitely have it planned out for like a 10-year span. But then he made this comment of like, whether or not I'm gonna be here or somebody else is going to, be taking over, that I don't know. So it does make me curious if James Gunn knows what's going on behind the scenes with all the purchasing and buying of things. If he feels like his time now is a little bit limited himself, or if there could potentially be plans, or at least just open to the idea of realizing like, yeah, I may not be able to complete what it is that I want to. I think the fact that James Gunn even references the idea, if it's me or somebody else, I think says something. I think James Gunn is well aware as to what could happen. I mean, look, the truth of the matter is like, we don't know if this deal is even going to go through for another 6 to 12 months, or what, like another year or so. But if you're James Gunn, right, you're just keeping your head down and you're just working for as long as you can, green lighting what you can, pushing movies out. I mean, I don't know what it's going to look like, right? Like if he wants to make an announcement past 2027, can he? Right? Like, is he allowed to like reveal some of the things that he would like to do for 2028, or is that not going to be up to him any longer? Like, so I really have no idea, Stuart.
Yeah, so I don't know James Gunn's specific political beliefs. Let me just phrase that. Honestly, when it comes to Donald Trump, I don't even think Donald Trump knows James Gunn exists, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, I don't think he knows.
I think he knows that, like, Superman movies exist, but I think he knows about superhero movies. Honestly, I don't even think Donald Trump knows the difference between Marvel and DC. I could be wrong, maybe, but like, I don't think so. So let me just say, like, that side of things, I don't think there's going to be any intention from Donald Trump being like, I want James Gunn fired, he's too woke. All right. So yeah, but when it comes to James Gunn, though, what I do know is that while I don't know his specific politics, he has gone on record saying that like a lot of what he's currently writing is based in today's political climate, in the sense of like how superheroes are almost like a kind of a metaphor for like kind of the way CEOs are. The fact that like CEOs have kind of been running things, even though it's like, you know, CEOs seem to have more power nowadays than actual politicians. You know, money speaks more than like actual, like, you know, the actual law pretty much. And that's kind of like how he's been using that for his writing going forward, is like for when it comes to you know, DC superheroes, is the idea of you know, if people have superpowers and they use that to kind of like say, hey, screw the law, like what kind of ramifications will that have in the long run? Hence why, you know, the actions of Superman had majorly you know, or you know, seemed to have big consequences for what's going to be going forward, as we already saw like a little hint of it in Peacemaker season 2, where it seems like they're now just going to be locking up people who they deem might be a threat, not necessarily are a threat, but could be a possible threat, just for having superpowers. So yeah, all that to be said, I think it's safe to say that James Gunn's politics do not align with Trump's, but whether or not I part of me is like, I would love it if James Gunn decided to leave. You know, if they took away his creative freedom, if they stopped letting him tell that kind of a story, but I don't know. All I know is that what's happening right now with Warner Brothers is exactly reflected in the stuff that he writes about in his movies. So I know I can say, if he's like, you know, honest in his interviews, then yeah, this merger is something that he is probably not happy about. But at the same time, he's a studio executive now, so I don't see him making any direct comments about his thoughts on the whole matter anytime soon.
Yeah, I don't think so either. Marcelina says many are saying rest in peace to the DCU. Look, it's not out of the realm of possibility. I'm just gonna say that right now, you know. But I have said here earlier today, if we get new management and it's a case of like, hey, we're gonna start the DCU over again, bro, I'm not watching it, my guy. Like, I'm not watching it. Like, you gotta, people will watch the first movie. You gotta convince me to go see this movie, because I'm tired of reboots. I'm tired of the new management, everybody having a different vision, and nothing in the DCU getting off the ground. Like, I feel terrible for DC, because they've got some quality characters that really have not had the opportunity to really shine yet. And if new management wants to come in and change things around again, we don't have any hints of that. They have mentioned they want to keep James Gunn and Peter Safran around, but if things were to change in the future, who knows, man? Who knows? Yeah. She also says Priyanka Chopra is rumored to play a villain in the new Power Rangers reboot. What are your thoughts? I do like Chopra as an actor. She does have a new movie out, I think, with Carl Urban on Amazon. I think it's called Bluff, where they're pirates or something like that. I've been hearing good things, at least I think I've been hearing good things about the movie online. I haven't had the opportunity to check it out myself, but yeah, I heard some of the rumors that I had heard was that she was going to be Rita Repulsa. I like the casting choice if that's true though. So I'm all for it if she ends up being a villain.
Trying to see if I've seen her in anything. I don't know. Nothing's popping up that I recognize. But yeah.
I'm trying to see. I feel like I've seen her in a bunch of stuff, but let's see here. What else do we got next? Yeah, it's called The Bluff, if you want to check out her more recent movie. We got Marcelino in the house. Which villain do you want to see get sent to Planet Salvation and eventually form the Legion of Doom in the DCU? You know who I would like to see that I think they're getting ready to introduce? I would not mind seeing Gorilla Grodd go there.
Oh, yes.
I wouldn't mind seeing Gorilla Grodd go there. Maybe that's where he can start his, a city, his ape city on Planet Salvation somewhere. It's supposed to be getting introduced to him in the DC crime show with Jimmy Olsen. So maybe somewhere along the lines they come and they grab him up and they put him in on Planet Salvation. But yeah, give me Gorilla Grodd there. If we're talking about forming the Legion of Doom, yeah, give me Gorilla Grodd.
you put someone like Gorilla Grodd in Salvation, the amount of people he will be able to get to rally behind him, it'll just make the whole thing bite Argus right in the ass.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Do you got any villain from that would form the Legion of Doom you want to see there?
Oh man, you already gave me the best answer with Gorilla Grodd, so I'm gonna go with Deathstroke for the same reasons as Gorilla Grodd, in the sense that he is really good at manipulating people. So I could see him basically kind of forming a legion of his own, and just waiting for the right time to strike back, basically as like kind of a strategy kind of dude. But yeah.
He also says there are rumors that there will be an animated reboot of The Walking Dead. Will it be more comic accurate? Some people have said that they're open to it, especially since it would be great to have an animated remake of a live action series in this world of live action remakes of animated movies. What do you think? What do you think, Stuart?
If this is true, there are two directions I'd love to go in. I'd love it to either be in the world of the comic books, but with new characters, or if we're gonna do like comic book adaptation, please give me like fully accurate comic book adaptation. Maybe change up a couple things here and there, but for the most part, man, I think the comic books are just so perfect. I don't really want that much to be changed about them. And that includes the ending that everyone gets mad at. I think the ending was fucking brilliant, and I will take that to my grave.
I surprisingly, I actually would be open to this. I think it would be pretty dope. Robert Kirkman as a showrunner, or at least executive producer on it. That was Robert Kirkman's series. Yeah, I would be open to animated reboot for sure.
I would love it if they had like if they recreated the scene from Invincible, where he quickly like is traveling through the multiverse and then ends up in the zombie universe, because I'm always saying that's the Walking Dead universe. That's my headcanon. It would be funny if they gave us like confirmation, and then that just never comes up again throughout the entire show. Just like in the middle of this dark, gritty zombie world, this random superhero just flies in and then leaves.
Originally he says the end was that the zombies would win and humanity would fall. That'd be interesting. Marcelino says his choice would have been Clayface, because I want to a villain who is not evil but just wants to go home and live life. Interesting. Okay. When it comes to the anti-woke grifters, and apparently now Paramount, they always say this to justify their argument. True diversity isn't diversity of color, gender, or sexual orientation, but true diversity is diversity of thought. People with different political and religions opinions respect each other. When they say they want representation, they are referring to people like Gina Carano, Dean Cain, Kevin Sorbo, Candace Owens, and what they stand for. Basically, they want to see representation and equal opportunity for conservatives, Republicans, and people who lean right wing, and not to be an echo chamber. To provide an example, recently Fresh Prince of Bel-Air has received retrospective praise from its pro-black conservative messages. The scene where Carlton is called a sellout, many people have compared the guy ridiculing him as an early example of what Colin Kaepernick and BLM would soon become, since they're not pro-black but are only pro-black to those who have the same sentiment. Do you guys believe that these arguments are valid and that there should be more representation like this?
I mean, I'm always for like representation with different beliefs when it comes to like films themselves. Like, yeah, I don't want everyone to like just all agree on one thing, because then that just makes for really boring storytelling. And for the most part, I don't really see that happening in movies. Now, if we're talking about actors with different political beliefs, I mean, there's plenty of conservative actors out there that still get plenty of roles. So I think that honestly, the truth that they don't want to admit is that a lot of these actors that aren't getting roles that lean conservative, I use conservative loosely, actually.
about to
I'm
say
sorry. If you're
conservative. Yeah, I
if you're a
don't-
Trump
yeah.
supporter, you're not
Yeah,
a conservative.
you're
All
not a
right. Trump
conservative.
supporters are a completely different line of thing. But so if I'm going with just conservative, there are plenty of conservative actors out there. Kelsey Grammer, you have Mel Gibson, you have Zachary Levi. I'm sure there's more. I wouldn't consider Zachary Levi conservative. He's just a crazy fucking Trump supporter. But yeah, sorry, Trump supporters, you are not conservatives. Let me just tell you all that right now. If any of you guys are for some reason watching our show, you're not conservative. But yeah, there are conservatives actors out there. They're just not speaking out as much because why the fuck would they? They know that like their belief systems have been turned completely upside down with this new administration. So so diversity in that sense still exists. What I think they're referring to are people like Dean Cain, Gina Carano, who can't get jobs. And here's a hard pill to swallow for them. It's not that they're not for Dean Cain specifically. I'll come back to Gina Carano in just a second. For Dean Cain, he's not getting work because it's not hard for him to get work because he's conservative. It's hard for him to get work because he's not a good actor. He had a handsome face and a great charisma in the 90s, and that was exactly what they needed for Superman, or at least for a cheap TV Superman. He's not a good actor. A lot of these conservative actors get mad that they can't get. Same with Rob Schneider. It's like you're not getting work, or you're not having a hard time getting work because of your pro-vac or because you're anti-vaccine. It's because you're just not a good actor. So yeah, that's how it is a lot of the times. So I don't know. It's weird. But yeah, like I do think that yes, we need diversity in movies when it comes to different belief systems for sure. Because that if everyone has like one opinion, that is so boring. But no, I don't think there's an issue at the moment. Like I don't know because I'm not working in Hollywood, so I don't know the behind the scenes. But as far as I know, there's not like a lack of diversity in terms of political beliefs. It's just that more people are speaking out that lean more left because politics have like me. Okay, dude, the two of us never talked, or I myself never talked this much politics like 2 years ago. But because politics are playing such a huge role in our world, they're shaping everything right now in such a negative way. It's obvious that more people are. So that's the reason more people are speaking up. It's not. So yeah, like overall, I don't think there's there's a lack of diversity in terms of political beliefs in Hollywood. I think it's just people who don't get jobs that lean more conservative blame the fact that they lean more conservative as to why they can't get jobs. But yeah, that is my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, I would echo everything that you stated here too, but the idea to justify the argument that true diversity isn't diversity of color, gender, or sexual orientation, but true diversity is diversity of thought. How about diversity is just all of those things?
Yeah.
Like all of those things. So if you want to push the idea of true diversity not being color, gender, or sexual orientation, to me that suggests that you either feel like those people shouldn't exist, or that they don't have the right to exist, or shouldn't have the voices that they certainly have. And to me, I can't balance that mindset. Like, to me, that's just not that's just people with different political and religious opinions respecting each other, like that's one thing. But like completely eliminating like there are people out there that just believe that certain people just shouldn't exist or have no place here, or believe that they're not equal or shouldn't have equal value or rights that they do. Those are not like just simple political or religious opinions to me. Like that's really hateful rhetoric in the sense of not respecting each other sort of as human beings. So yeah, while I do think diversity of thought is one aspect of what true diversity is, that's not to exclude that diversity also includes color, gender, and sexual orientation. But just because you feel uncomfortable with it, or you don't think these people should exist, like it's just that's when people say like the both sides ism. Like, I'm sorry, there's just not a both sides to me when it comes to racism or misogyny, or the idea of people not having a right to equal opportunities, or to just live a everyday life like everybody else wants to do. When people start talking that way, that's just not that's I can't both sides that to sit with that. Okay, but if you've got conservative beliefs, like if you think like the tax rate is is wrong, or like you shouldn't be taxed as much, or if you've got like coming from like a policy perspective that doesn't like purposefully aim to hurt individuals, then yeah, I'm completely okay with having political and religious opinions. But that's not what these people push. Okay, like that's not what people like Dean Cain or Kevin Sorbo or Candace Owens push on a regular basis, right? Like maybe don't say crazy ass shit or hateful shit and hateful rhetoric to other people, and maybe you would get other job opportunities, right? Like if you're it's just, yeah, man, I just, to eliminate what they feel the definition of diversity, to me just already explains everything I need to know about that side to not want to give them an opportunity, you know what I'm saying, or not give them a place to show, I don't want to say showcase their stuff, but no, I just don't, there's some arguments I just don't hold as valid, or whatever the case may be. But hopefully that answers your question on top of everything else that Stuart's just said.
Yeah.
He says a lot of people say, for every Ryan Coogler, there should be a Candace Owens in power because not every black people have the same opinion, and that's absolutely correct. I definitely agree, but I'm not going to sit here and act like Candace Owens, isn't a conspiracy theorist and grifts people out of their money, and does all this horrible shit behind the scenes. And then when things start hitting the fan and she recognizes how unpopular the people that she fought for are now doing, and now wants to all of a sudden become like this woke-eyed leftist all of a sudden with this mentality of switching stances on things, and now she wants to push back and still continue along with it. Like there's people like that I just like, that's more than just somebody with a different opinion, like I do believe that you can have somebody conservative, a black conservative on the other side, that isn't fucking crazy. Okay, like that's there's a difference. Like it's that Ryan Coogler and Candace Owens to me are not apples to apples. It's sensible to fucking crazy.
I was gonna say, because like, oh my god, and that's okay. I gotta say, man, this is gonna make me sound like a terrible person, and I don't care. I am so entertained by like how much shit she is starting, and like how batshit insane she has gotten recently with all of her conspiracy theories. Yeah, exactly. It's like I'm hearing all about it like secondhand. I don't like follow her or anyone that's like part of the Daily Wire, obviously, but like I watch Philip DeFranco, and so he covers this shit all the time, and it's just like, it's just entertaining to me because it's like yeah, she's just basically kind of become like this weird chaos incarnate that's like just going on in the middle of this MAGA civil war. And it's like, oh my god, it's hilarious as someone who's just watching as a complete like outsider, like watching from the outside.
Yeah, dude, it's pretty. So yeah, I mean, I do think that there are political and religious beliefs that are different should certainly still be showcased, but I think you can do that with very sensible people.
Sorry, I have to make one more point about this. I bet you that the same people who say true diversity is diversity in beliefs would also bitch if you actually had like characters with multiple different religions, if it was anything but Christianity.
The Christianity, yeah, probably. Because yeah, their idea of religious opinions is as long as it's Christian.
Yeah. Separation from church and state, unless it's Christianity.
Yeah. My friends call me Joseph. What's up, Joseph? While Elizabeth Shue stepped in to replace Claudia Wells for the sequels, many fans argue the character's minimal role, spending most of the journey unconscious rendered the recasting unnecessary compared to the creative ways George McFly's absence was handled. To better honor Wells, the production could have utilized recap footage and written Jennifer as staying behind in 1985, potentially allowing for a meaningful cameo return in the film. Given that her presence in the film had little impact on the plot, would the narrative have felt more seamless if the filmmaker had simply left Jennifer at home instead of bringing a new actress along just to keep her sidelined?
I don't think it was disrespectful because it's not like she had any it's not like she had any ill will towards Back to the Future. She just left because she wanted to take care of her mom. I thought it was fine. I think they just wrote the movie with the assumption that she was still going to be in it, and when they found out she wasn't, they just decided to recast her because they didn't want to rewrite the film, which, you know, to me makes total sense. Because yeah, I won't deny that she was sidelined, but I think she was sidelined because that's how it was written in the original script before she declined to come back. Also, I have a confession to make. Several times, I don't think it was until like high school when I actually noticed that they were two different actresses.
Dude, that was literally going to be my next talking point, was like, when I watched these growing up as a kid, I barely even noticed. Like, it really wasn't until I became more aware as I got older that I'm like, are these two different actresses? Because they almost look eerily similar to me, honestly. So like, I really don't complain about the recasting just because it's like I barely noticed it, honestly. I really
Yeah.
don't. That's so funny you mentioned that. I was like, okay, I thought it was just me, but I'm glad to know it wasn't just me, Stuart.
I'm now glad to know it wasn't just me too.
No, it's not just you. That was literally about to be my argument. Like, dude, I could barely tell, so I really could care. I could really care less. Marky Parko, have you guys seen the George Lopez sitcom before? Yeah, I used to watch. After the heartbreak of her breakup with longtime boyfriend Jason and a brief ruse with the guy who was in the closet, Carmen's life took a sharp turn when she dated a delinquent named Zach and eventually ran away to San Francisco. This sparked a rebellious phase where she demanded to be treated as an adult, though she eventually reclaimed her old self after realizing how difficult independence truly was. Even years later, she used these turbulent experiences as a cautionary tale for her younger brother Max when he hit his own teenage milestones. Do you think Carmen's rebellious streak was a necessary part of growing up, or just a reaction to the chaos of her dating life? I mean, I guess a little bit of both. I mean, I don't remember that story arc very well. It's been years since I don't know if this is the original George Lopez sitcom, or like, didn't they just come out with like a reboot of it recently, or he has another show? I can't remember, but so it's been a minute. But you know, a rebellious streak, I mean, I can see that being a reaction to the chaos of her dating life. You know, the people you date definitely do have an impact in regards to your personality and who you are and the direction that you kind of take, and that can take a toll on people for sure. But I think a rebellious streak growing out of that wouldn't certainly surprise me. But that is a part of growing up in general, I think, for anybody. I mean, I may have not had that chaos of dating life or anything like that growing up, but I'm sure, you know, that could easily add to a rebellious streak in regards to somebody. So yeah, I think it's all part of her growing up.
Yeah, I think that like that's definitely a big thing, is that when you're, I feel like I mean, that was me when I was like that age. Like, I wanted to be treated like an adult and stuff, and then you don't realize that the type of adults that will treat you like an adult are not the type of adults you want to be around, you know. Yeah, no, that, I don't know, that seems kind of just typical teenage drama that you get in like kind of sitcoms. It's been so long since I've watched the George Lopez show, and even then I never really watched it like continuously. It would be one of those shows where I would watch episodes at a time, like here and there. But yeah, like I honestly don't remember this arc, but I do remember her like on again, off again boyfriend being a total asshole though.
Let's see here. Who else do we got? Alan Batista. Have you heard that there may be a new G.I. Joe film in the works? Perhaps it could follow the events of Transformers Rise of the Beast, where Noah Diaz was recruited by secret organizations for saving the world. If so, do you think this long-awaited meeting between Autobots and the Joes will successfully expand the shared universe teased in that final scene? If not, what would you like the film to be about? I guess that is one of the questions, right? I mean, even though they're coming in to make a G.I. Joe movie, the article doesn't really say like this is not connected to anything that we've seen before. I'm kind of under the impression that it's different though. I'm kind of under the impression that it's different, that whatever it is that they're writing right now doesn't really have the connective pieces to Rise of the Beast. I'm hoping I'm wrong, but this does feel like it's something completely separate. Are you under that impression too, Stuart?
Oh, 100%. I don't think we'll be seeing, which is too bad because he was like one of the few human characters in Transformers that was like actually enjoyable. Because I really like Noah Diaz, but I don't think we'll be seeing him in the G.I. Joe movie.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so either. As far as like if it's not going to be that, what direction do I want the film to be about? Well, I don't know, man. Do you start as early as the foundation of the G.I. Joe, or are they already in action and we already have all of our characters and our pieces like chess pieces on the board?
Yeah, I go with the chess pieces are already out there on the board. Okay, terrible movie, so I know this is going to be a bad example, but I just go the Snake Eyes route in the sense that like everything's already like directly established, including Cobra, including G.I. Joe. So I think maybe having the plot be we think that the main villains are the Decepticons, but then we are later led to find out that Cobra or something has figured out how to control basically the Decepticons, and so they got to stop the Cobra before they're suddenly able to control the Autobots as well, and then they become super unstoppable. I would have it be something along those lines.
I like it. Cars are my hobby. What's up, Cars? What did you think of the film's hot tub time machine? Do you think that the movie would have been just as funny if the time machine had been a standard time traveling car or some other type of technology? If you could travel back to your youth, what would you want to see or change? Or would you rather travel to the future? Oh God. I have not seen Hot Tub Time Machine. I'm gonna be honest with you. Didn't they make 2 of those movies, or am I tripping? I don't remember.
They did,
right? Have you seen them, Stuart? And if so, do you think the movie would have been just as funny if they used something else?
Honestly, okay, so I never saw the second one, but honestly, I don't remember the hot tub aspect of it being important to the story itself, only for the plot. So yeah, they literally could have used anything, a porta potty, a limo, a helicopter. I don't know why porta potty was the first thing that came to my mind. I was like, what hasn't been used as a time travel machine? Porta potties haven't yet. Let's go with that. But regardless, like, yeah, I think it honestly could have been like anything. I think what it came down to is they're like, okay, how do we get a bunch of guys like together, like in a kind of intimate way so that they can all travel in time at the exact same moment. And I think that was why they went with the hot tub. But yeah, I remember it being funny. It's been a minute since I've watched it. So I don't know how it holds up because I think it was like in high school when I saw it, but I remember getting a lot of good laughs.
If you could travel back to your youth, what would you want to see or change? Or would you rather travel to the future?
Ooh.
If I could change maybe my acne growing up as a kid, that'd be nice. My grandparents are from Puerto Rico, and we used to have a plot of land out there on the island. But I think in order to pay for my high school, I think my grandparents actually sold the land to pay for my high school, which I absolutely hate that notion. So if I could change one thing with the knowledge that I have now, I probably would talk to my grandparents and be like, please, whatever you do, please don't sell that land in Puerto Rico. Like, we got to find another way. If you really want to pay for my education, Like we gotta find some other way of doing it. But I would definitely change that for sure. Because right now I would love to know that I've got land waiting for me in Puerto Rico that I can do whatever I want with it. Who knows how much that would be currently going for right now? But yeah.
Yeah, kind of a similar situation. I would have, well, it wouldn't have been me talking to my parents or anything or grandparents. It would have been me just starting college earlier, because back when I could have done it without having to rely on any financial aid or anything like that. That's probably what I would have done. However, if I got to choose between the two, I probably would have chosen the future, traveling to the future, seeing what it looks like. And then one of two things, either pulling it back to the future and get rich gambling on sports, or probably, especially, okay, here's the funny thing. Nowadays, I could get super rich gambling on sports because the sports apps now have very specific conditions where it's like, oh, how much do you want to bet this guy is going to do this exact move during the basketball game at least 37 times, that very specific move, that very specific number. So, and it's like that because it's all rigged because, anyways, that's a whole nother can of worms. But that being said, that's the kind of gambling I would be doing because I know I would always be right. I would know, I would have the exact numbers. I would have the exact, and I could like just set it all up. I would do so good that there would probably be an investigation onto whether or not I've been bribing these players. So anyways, that's one of the things I would definitely do. And then also I would look at any kind of past disasters and honestly see if I could prevent any of them, like to the best of my abilities.
Okay, I like it. That's a great answer, Stuart. I like it. I was thinking of the future too, but I'm like, I don't know. I'm kind of scared to see what the future looks like.
Yeah.
Lois is my wife. Peter is dead. 1999. If
Great
there,
username.
yeah, if there were to ever be a live action Family Guy, would you like the actors to be played by the actual voice actors or by completely brand new actors? And when it comes to Peter Griffin himself, do you want him to have prosthetic balls for his chin? No, I don't want him to have prosthetic balls for his chin.
Oh my god, I just think of Men in Black 2. It's the Balchinian.
Would you like the actors to be played by the actual voice actors? No, give me brand new actors. I'll take brand new actors.
Yeah, I love me some Seth Green, but like I would not be able to buy him as a overweight high schooler. I don't care what makeup you put on him.
I love it. Jessica Friedman, with Stephen Amell cast in the new Baywatch series, would you like to see some Arrowverse alumni show up in a guest star role? And which Arrowverse show do you think got canceled too quickly? Ooh. Do I see Arrowverse alumni showing up in a guest? You know what? I will throw out, I think at least one will show up in a guest star role. I don't know which one, but I do think at least one will show up, Stu.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with that. And whether it's because of Stephen Amell or it's just a complete coincidence, I think it'll happen at some point in the future.
I think the actress that played Thea Queen has a chance of popping up there. I'm also going to say Jessica Harkavy, but who played Black Canary, but I think she just had a kid, if I'm not mistaken. But I think so. I don't know. She might be in the mom life now. I don't know if she's doing acting anymore. But those would be my two suggestions. But I don't know.
My two would be Sarah Lutz or David Ramsey. I feel like David Ramsey, with how ripped he's gotten over the years, would be like perfect for a show
swole.
Baywatch.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. Which Arrow show verse to you got canceled too quickly?
I guess Batwoman would be one that got canceled too quickly after like only 3 seasons, never really having a chance to. And I think it also sucked just because of like the big shift they had from seasons 1 and 2. They never really had a chance to find their footing, I don't think, when it came to that show, or they kind of were getting their footing right in season 3, but then that's when it ended.
Yeah, I've got two answers for this. Now, to be fair, I don't think I the first one I'm gonna say, I don't think I watched the last two seasons of this show, but Stargirl, because
Oh
Stargirl was
yes.
so damn good. I really would have like the first season was so damn good to me. I maybe I did watch season two. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but Stargirl probably should have continued on, and probably a surprise to some, but Gotham Knights. I actually walked away with season one kind of um eager to kind of see how they would build upon season one. I mean, I think we already knew that this was like done and gone for anyway, but I would not have been mad at the idea of Gotham Knights getting a season two. I actually kind of liked the characters. Things kind of grew on me as the season progressed. I wouldn't have minded seeing a little bit more.
Hmm.
Nathaniel, what's up, Nathaniel? Did you know that actor Jon Favreau, the guy from the MCU who played Happy, he used to be on the show Friends as the rich boyfriend and of Monica, who was also a boxer. Some people didn't like him because they saw him as a very self-absorbed and think he was four. I don't know what that means, but he was also director of the Elf movie. He also had a cameo as the Doctor. What do you think of his characters on both?
Oh, in Alpha, I thought that was like kind of a clever way to put yourself into the movie.
Yeah.
Way to like kind of he was kind of like the one that like kind of kept the plot going forward when he took Elf to the doctor, and he's just like, no, you can't just kick this guy on the street. I think that was like kind of like that extra persuasion of, come on, he's your son, get to know him.
Yeah.
So yeah, I liked him in Elf. No, I thought he was funny in Friends. Because
Yeah, he was so good.
But the fact that he gets like the absolute shit kicked out of him, and like they even imply that his balls get kicked so hard he can no longer have kids, and yet he's still like, I'm going to do it, Monica. I'm going to be the world fighting champion. Even after that, it's like, okay, I like this guy. It's too bad that was when he got written out of the show, because that was when he became one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, he's got a great sense of humor. Like, I usually see him in a lot of comedies. I really enjoyed him. He was great in Four Christmases, Couples Retreat. I enjoyed him in an older movie, Swingers. I thought he was really good in too. And he also he's a really talented actor in general. Like, I think he can play a lot of different roles if he wants to. I think Chef was probably one of the ones that really opened my eyes to him even more as like what he's capable of doing from an acting perspective. But yeah, Jon Favreau is so talented. Like, and this is one of the reasons why, like, while I get the hesitation that some people might have for things like the Mandalorian and Grogu, I just think of Jon Favreau's experience, not just as an actor, but like as a true filmmaker in Hollywood, because that's what he's known to do. And the fact that he did Elf, which is a Christmas classic that I watch around this house every year, or Chef, or any of his Iron Man stuff. I mean, he's built for movies. And if there's anybody that knows how to do things cinematically and make it feel larger than life, or something that's meant to be shown on the big screen, he knows what he's doing. Jon Favreau is a proven commodity. So yeah, I'm glad you asked that question. I am a big fan of Jon Favreau and his character work for sure. Let's see here. Couple last questions from let me restart this just in case. I'm going to refresh this page just real quick, just to make sure I got everybody. And see, I think we got somebody. I think something else just dropped, but yes, see, I'm glad I refreshed it. Doomsday, do you feel it's really annoying how people can't watch and enjoy Shinkinger without constant comparisons to Samurai, especially when they deliberately go to YouTube or TikTok videos about Jaden just to comment Takeru better? I've been watching reaction videos to Shinkinger lately, and I'm really starting to not like the constant comparisons people make to our version. I'm not really saying they shouldn't critique Samurai at all. I just wish people would appreciate Shinkinger on its own merits. I get that they're basically identical twins, but I'm kind of tired of constant comparisons. I can watch Shinkinger as its own thing without constantly thinking about our American versions. Well, I think, to be fair, I think YouTube videos, and TikTok videos in general, when they're reacting, especially reaction videos, it's kind of hard not to. Like even I think when I did my reaction videos to um uh Sentai shows that I watched that also had Power Ranger counterparts. While I didn't specifically like do comparisons all the time, it's really easy to jump back and forth to the comparisons and having opinions on who did it better type of mentality. So I think it's almost just natural, especially when you're adapting something that's already has a an American adaptation to it. Like I like the fact that like if you were to find another Sentai series that didn't have an American adaptation, you clearly would not find it. But I think because of the fact that people that are usually watch Super Sentai also watch the American version of Power Rangers, it's almost really hard to kind of escape. You know, I get the idea of like maybe well, a part of me was going to say maybe instead of reaction videos, maybe watch review videos for Shinkenger. But I have a feeling too, like even if you're just reviewing it, it's always going to be in the back of your mind in some way or form to compare it to Power Rangers. Maybe just find somebody that doesn't do it as much, but I'm sure almost everybody does.
Yeah, I think it's just really hard with that series in particular because unlike okay, so like Deca Ranger and SPD are extremely similar, but the main difference is when I watch SPD, I don't ever really see myself going, that is a really bizarre choice. I wonder why they decided that. Oh, that's because they had to because the Super Sentai did it and they had to use that footage. Whereas like every time watching Samurai, it's like I'm like that's a weird decision. Why did they go with that? And then immediately realizing, oh, right, it's because Shinkenger did it, so they kind of had to adapt it that way because this is literally a one for one. From what I hear. Okay, again, I haven't seen Shinkenger, so I'm only going by the fact that this is the most. I think of all the Power Ranger shows, Samurai is the one that people bring up the Sentai version the most out of any of them, just because like that's the one I hear the most is similar, but. Maybe I should watch Shinkenger one of these days and have an actual opinion of my own on it. But yeah, so I kind of get why with it. But I also do understand the frustration that like, especially if it's a series that you really love and you want to hear other people talking about like other aspects of it other than the comparison bits. I do definitely get the frustration behind that too.
During the finale of Cosmic Fury, when Javi was doing his little victory concert, do you think it would have been super cool if they had done a little montage of our Rangers from the beginning of Dino Fury up until now, or if better, a montage of the whole franchise since it was the final season of Power Rangers, kind of like how they did with Kara's song at the end of Dino Thunder? You know, I would not have been opposed to that. I don't know if the whole franchise, but a montage of our Rangers from the beginning of Dino Fury probably would have worked for me. I would have been on board with that. They didn't have any type of montage. It was just him singing and different like shots of people in the audience and stuff.
Yeah, it was just a typical concert. Which yeah, like come to think of it, that actually I do agree that would have been
From a
cool if they
creative,
kinda had, like yeah.
from a creative choice, I think that would have been really cool to do something like that.
Especially with the way they had like ended it on the very last line with Billy kind of realizing, wait a minute, Zordon might be alive. It would have been kind of cool to like kind of flash back to Zordon one last time or something along those lines.
How do you feel about Scary Movie 6 with the theater exclusive trailer that got leaked online returning to its offensive humor? Personally, I'm all in for it. Yeah, you know, I went to go see, was it How to Make a Killing the other day?
Oh,
And
they played it for that?
and they played it for that. And I was like, oh, like, dude, it looks so good. It looks so good. It looks so funny. They definitely don't look like they're kind of holding back whatsoever. Yeah, I'm for it. I'm personally for it.
Yeah, so I haven't seen the full trailer. I've only seen leaks here and there because I've actually been trying to look for it. But it looks really funny. As to like the weird thing of it making fun of like I don't know, because like I like don't get me wrong, Scary Movie 1 and 2 were extremely raunchy and definitely played on some stereotypes that I will admit are maybe kind of went a little too far. Although I may not be the right one to say that because I'm white and it was directed by black men. So it's like if it's black men making jokes about black stereotypes, I don't think I'm allowed to say that's a little much. But anyways, I never really thought they were ever trying to be offensive, though. You know, I think that was why it was weird that they're kind of marketing it this new way of being like, yeah, we don't care about like safe spaces or anything. We're trying to be offensive. It's like, oh, okay, that's not something that I ever like. When I think of scary movie, I don't think of offensive humor. I just think of raunchy humor, you know. But that being said, the jokes that I saw in the trailer were hilarious. I laughed hella hard at that moment where the two characters like meet up and she's like, oh, I want to hug you, but I'm a Republican, so I think I'm racist. And she's like, oh, that's okay, all white people are racist to me. I'm like, that was funny. And I love, like, holy crap, the quantity of horror
references
movies that they're parodying. Yeah, it's like because like, I mean, Scary Movie 1, what you had like Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer, and then I know they had plenty of other references, like they kind of parodied the Matrix in that final fight scene. There were plenty of others, but for the most part, like I Know What You Did Last Summer and Scream were like the only two like main horror movies that they were parodying. But like this one, it looks like it's just going for like everything that's been popular in the last 10 years.
Yeah, it's like we got to catch up. There's been so many horror movies. We gotta get everybody involved.
Exactly. So I will say this movie looks ambitious.
Yeah, you know, I think the fact that they got the Wayans back is extremely important. I think they are brilliant when it comes to just creatively behind the scenes and putting this type of stuff together. And I think they understand. Well, one, I think they know that they can get away with certain humor that others certainly can't. And so I think they are very good at balancing the ability to make fun of yourself and still make it a good time at the movie theaters and let people be able to laugh at themselves a little bit. Because when that line came up, like, oh, I'm Republican and I'm racist, and like, oh, I know all white people are racist. Like, people in the audience laughed their ass off when that line dropped. So like, I know people are ready for this type of stuff, but I think the Wayans are smart enough to know how to balance like being able to make fun of oneself and have fun at the same time. So yeah, man, I was as somebody who has not watched a Scary Movie in like the longest time, to see this trailer and find myself like laughing out loud, like I'm kind of ready for this one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. Do you think they're gonna do a him parody at some point, which would be funny because you know Marlon Wayne was in that movie?
I mean, who knows? I'm curious as to like you know, I guess they probably would have had to have. I'm trying to figure out when they filmed this movie, if it was before or after him. So maybe he's got a little bit of that in there. Like it wouldn't surprise me if they managed to plug that in.
Mm-hmm.
Last sets of question here is from Tony Robinson. When do you guys think Hasbro will announce the Rangers cast? Man, it's March right now. When is this show supposed to debut? Early 2027?
Something like that. I think the announcements are going to be coming. Let me actually Google one thing real quick. I think it'll come at around the time Percy Jackson season 3 premieres. I think the only reason they're not like talking too much about Power Rangers right now is I think they want to still keep that Percy Jackson hype going on, and then once season 3 premieres, once like the hype is there, that's when they can start like announcing other future projects without worrying about taking away the hype from Percy Jackson. That's my guess.
When did you say Percy Jackson season 3 releases?
Just Googled it and it just says late 2026. So yeah, I'm gonna go with your guess. You said November, right?
Well, the series itself for Power Rangers, it does say release date likely in late 2026 or potentially 2027. I think this is a 2027 show because I think they just started production on it, or they start production in April, I believe. So I don't see a show going in April being ready to release by the end of the year. So I think 2027 is probably the better shot. So as far as casting goes, like announcements, man, you know, there's a part of me that thinks Comic-Con is too far away. Comic-Con is when? Like San Diego Comic-Con is when? Usually in July. So I don't know when. I think I have a feeling that casting is just going to drop randomly one day. Like I think it's going to be before San Diego Comic-Con. But it wouldn't surprise me if they have like the cast and stuff and crew at San Diego Comic-Con. So maybe just randomly one day in like May, just randomly. Um, do you think Paramount will sell some of WB properties they don't want?
I think that would be smart on their end if they did that.
Yeah, maybe like the licensing to some of them, when maybe realizing like there's just so much IP, we don't, we don't have everything on the enough room on the docket to release all this stuff. Maybe. Will Warner Brothers do well this year like last year?
What's coming out by Warner Brothers this year? Because we got Supergirl and Clayface, which I know I'm pretty sure Clayface is going to make the studio a lot of money, regardless of how good it is or how many tickets it sells, because it's a cheap movie. So I think it's kind of a guaranteed profit. Supergirl, though, I'm hoping it does at least Superman numbers. I think it'll do pretty good in theaters. I think there's enough hype around it.
Yeah, we got this is The Mummy. I don't know what. Oh, that's that new Mummy film. Supergirl, Clayface, The Cat in the Hat. I'm trying to see if there's like just a release of movies.
Wait, do you know if Dr. Seuss movies or movies based on Dr. Seuss books are like successful anymore?
I don't know. Like The Cat in the Hat. I don't know. Okay, here we go. Let me see. Warner Brothers schedule release. So we got, okay, so here we go. The Bride. I think that, I don't know how well it's going to do at the box office, but that might be a surprise. So we got The Bride. They Will Kill You with Zazie Beetz, which looks interesting. The Mummy looks kind of terrifying. Mortal Kombat, Supergirl, Coyote versus Acme, Practical Magic 2, Digger with Tom Cruise. That might do relatively well. Clayface, The Cat in the Hat, The Great Beyond, and Dune Part 3. I mean, Dune Part 3 might make all their money back from. I think there'll be some successes in here. I think under the radar successes, this is going to include under the radar successes. So I think The Bride will be impressive. I think Mortal Kombat will be more impressive than people give it credit for. Supergirl, Clayface, and probably Dune Part 3. I don't know if it's going to be as good. I'll be honest. I don't know if it's going to be as good as 2026, but I do think, I don't know if it's going to be as good as 2026. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to do as good, but I think some movies will do pretty big. I think that Supergirl and Clayface and Wuthering Heights, that's one that's already making them a lot of money. And then, yeah, I don't know if The Bride will be huge, but I think it'll at least like make money. Dune is hard to say because even though people love the Dune movies, they're not like the big box office like.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
I don't think so. I don't think Dune made that much, or Dune 2 made that much money in box office. I know Dune 1 was a flop, but that was because of the release time. So it doesn't really reflect like, audiences and who saw it, because that was
they made a ton of money.
Oh, wait, really?
Yeah, it made 714 million worldwide.
I sit corrected.
Dune 2. Yeah, I think they've done pretty good. So yeah, I think that the box office is so weird these days. But no, I don't know. Part of me just thinks that last year, from a financial standpoint, maybe not like a critical Oscar nominated point of view, but like from a box office wise, I don't think it's going to do as good as 2026. But they still got an impressive lineup though.
Yeah. Also, something I just found recently. So I was like looking through like a montage of deleted, never animated Robot Chicken sketches. So the whole Coyote versus Acme, they had a like a 2-minute sketch that's basically that movie, where it's like the idea of a bunch of different Hanna-Barbera cartoons suing Acme because their inventions never work.
I like it. I like it. That's pretty funny. But yeah, guys, let us know your thoughts on some of the topics we talked about here in the comment section box below. But thank you guys for certainly participating in our live viewer questions and giving us some great company as we go through all of these topics on a weekly basis for you guys. Let me see here. You know, I'm gonna be honest, man. I'm in the search of a new computer. I'm probably going to be on Amazon.com this week doing a lot of research trying to get me a new desktop. It's really what I want to invest in for you guys. It's just been hard to do quality content for YouTube outside of this weekly show for you guys just because of the technical issues that I've been having lately. But I do plan on trying to acquire a new desktop here. Hopefully, at least purchase it. Hopefully here this week, as long as everything's in order. But other than that, you know, I'll continue to try and do my best to post up videos throughout the week in regards to it. We're going to be having a return of Daredevil Born Again, so we could definitely be doing weekly reviews for you guys there. If there's any other television shows that are upcoming that you guys would like us to maybe do weekly reviews for, let us know. So again, we got Daredevil here around the corner. We've got Maul, Shadow Lord for you guys around the corner that we're going to be doing. But other movie, I have also been thinking about, once I get my desktop up, I really would like to get back to doing watch-alongs that we used to do. You know, watching movies together, reacting to it live, sort of thing. So those are some of the things that I personally would like to do. But as far as big news, maybe some reviews for trailers, I'll definitely continue to try and drop those on a weekly basis when the news is certainly worthy enough. I was going to do one for the Sony fresh reboot stuff, but I ended up only dropping it over on the TikTok. So yeah, a couple places for you guys to certainly follow us at going forward. But Stuart, if people want to follow you on social media, where can they find you?
You guys can find me at TurboStew01 over on TikTok, Letterbox, and Instagram.
Pexy says, I'm going to watch episode 3 of Super Space Sheriff Gavin tonight.
Where are you watching it, Peg C? Just curious.
He gave me some links. I'll send you the links that he sent me.
Perfect.
But yeah, I'll send you the link that he sent me. Stuart, have you gotten your March calendar yet for work? Do you know any availability that you have?
Shoot.
Or maybe we'll talk about it off camera. We'll talk
about off camera. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Try and figure out some additional content for the channel. But guys, if you want to follow us anywhere, certainly first and foremost here at YouTube, please subscribe to the channel. Like the video if you haven't done so as of yet. If you want to share these videos, clip these videos and share them. Let people know about A+ Hero Report. We definitely appreciate you there. We're also very active over on TikTok at Hero Report, over 3,000 followers there. And if you want to find us on any other social media at A+ Opinions, very active everywhere else, especially our Facebook page. We got over 4,000 followers over on Facebook. We're constantly updating that on a daily basis with brand new news in regards to the worlds of movies, televisions, any behind the scenes stuff, featurettes, trailers, new posters, new exclusive first looks. We drop all of that on our Facebook page, and then we take 6 topics from there and we talk about them here on our weekly show at A+ Hero Report live every Sunday at noon Central Time going forward. But that will do it for us here today, ladies and gentlemen. We'll certainly see you guys next weekend. And until next time, do us a big favor, as always. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and keep it A+. We'll talk to you guys later. Bye.